Good evening and welcome to Monday Night Football.
99 yards and a half.
Are you ready for some football?
Nobody catches Bo.
It's an amazing event. It makes rock concerts look like tea parties.
Look out! Right through! It is scoop and score! Touchdown, New Orleans! Or you can take me now. I've seen it all. What a show! And it's put on tonight. Megatron into the record books. He did what? William Perry fights the football. He's on the record. He did. The most bizarre finish you'll ever see.
What a football game this turned out to be.
Welcome to the Monday Night Kickoff, engineered by GMC. A spectacular sunset in the Rockies, and the teams atop their divisions. 11-3 Cincinnati, 10-4 Denver. Wrap up season 46 of Monday Night Football. Temperature in the teens, the stakes are very high for the Bengals. They are in the playoffs as the champions of the North, can secure a bye in the first round with a victory tonight. Mile-high stakes for the Broncos. They grab a playoff spot with a win. If they lose, Kansas City is in control of the AFC West. You couldn't ask for more in one game. Good evening, everyone. Mike Tirico, along with John Gruden, Lisa Salters will join us here in a little bit. Both of these teams started red hot. They could both still be the #1 seed, and there are other similarities too. These are great defenses who are asking inexperienced quarterbacks to win the most important regular season games of the year. Why don't we start with Denver, John? 7-0, they were cruising. But if they lose their last two games, they may fall out of the playoff picture. That's a lot for Brock Osweiler to deal with in his 6th NFL start tonight.
Yeah, Mike, and everybody knows about the growing pains of a first-year starting quarterback, and he's had those. But the Broncos are also using 3 first-year starters on their offensive line: Garcia, Paradis, and Schofield, and they've had their growing pains as well. A couple weeks ago, I saw Schofield at right tackle struggle with Khalil Mack of the Oakland Raiders. He gave up 4 sacks, and if they don't help Schofield tonight, he's in trouble because the Bengals are going to bring Carlos Dunlap, and he's got 10.5 sacks. Got to get help for Schofield at right tackle. This offensive line has got to play their game of the year. Must protect better and get this running game going. It's been very non-Bronco-like.
Then on the other side, we have the inexperienced quarterback, A.J. McCarron. Big game A.J. maybe. He's got those 2 national championship rings from Alabama. It's his 2nd year in the NFL. It's all great, but it's only his 2nd NFL start.
He's going to need some help, too. In this noise, in this weather, against the #1 ranked Bronco defense, they have to get their running game going. And it starts with Jeremy Hill and Giovanni Bernard. Last year in Week 16 on Monday Night Football, I saw Jeremy Hill take it to Denver. He had over 100 yards rushing, and he got the party started with a long touchdown run. And Giovanni Bernard was explosive between the tackles, and this man can catch a football as well. Very important as Cincinnati gets their running game going, because if they're one-dimensional, they got to deal with Von Miller, perhaps the best pass rusher in football, and 2 Pro Bowl corners, Aqib Talib and Chris Harris. This is going to be a good one.
These teams are dreaming championship. What's the old saying? Defense wins championships. We have 2 really good defenses tonight. How good? Let's show you tonight's Gillette Flex Ball notes. Let's start with Cincinnati. They've allowed the fewest points per game in the NFL. Then you have Denver, which has allowed the fewest yards per game. A December matchup like that has only happened 3 times in the last 20 years, both involving the Steelers, one in 2004, and the Monday Nighter we were there for against the 49ers in 2011. It's a game impacting every team still alive in the AFC tonight on Monday Night Football. Peyton Manning missing a 6th game tonight with his foot injury. More on that in a moment. As you undoubtedly heard yesterday, the 5-time league MVP, one of several prominent athletes implicated in an Al Jazeera documentary which claims Manning and the others received performance-enhancing drugs from an anti-aging clinic. The league is reviewing that report. Lisa Salters was the first to interview the Broncos quarterback just hours after the news broke.
Mike, Peyton Manning was working out yesterday when I spoke to him about the report and seemed just disgusted by it. He said he has been to that clinic He has gotten treatment there, has gotten medications from there, but he was emphatic in his denial about doing anything wrong. Have you ever used HGH or any performance-enhancing drug?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't speak for any other athlete. I know what I've done. I know how hard I've worked during my 18 years of playing the NFL. There are no shortcuts in the NFL. I've done it the long way. I've done it the hard way. To insinuate anything otherwise is a complete and total joke. It's defamation, and it really ticks me off.
This report comes out just as it appears that Manning may be close to getting back on the football field. Like I said, he was working out yesterday when I spoke to him. He said it was his 4th day of throwing without any setbacks and that his left foot feels good.
I need to get back, I need to take the next step and, be on the practice field. But I have pushed the limits, pushed the envelope this week with my throwing, with my drill work. I'm a pretty good quarterbacks coach, and I know how to put myself, through trials. And so I've had a good week, but I hope to get back on the practice field next week and then hopefully possibly get on the field.
I did ask Manning if he thinks he should start when he's ready to get back on the field, and he said he'd leave that up to Gary Kubiak to decide. He said, if they need me to play, I'll be ready. If they don't feel it's best for the team, I will respect that decision. Mike?
Lisa, this is a short and long-term conversation, John, as we turn to tonight's Subway Fresh Take. If Manning's healthy enough, certainly you want to have him ready to, at worst, be the backup, just in case you need him as you go through this. He wouldn't be excited about being the backup, but he would do it. In your mind, what's the big picture that we're looking at here with Peyton?
Well, first, it's all about him getting healthy, Mike. If he was healthy, he wouldn't be on a practice field throwing balls by himself into a net. He's not ready to go yet. And secondly, it all depends on how Brock Osweiler plays. This is John Elway's guy. He took him in the 2nd round, and his contract's up at the end of the season. So if Osweiler plays well enough tonight for Denver to win, you may never see Peyton Manning play here again. But if he struggles and they lose their 3rd straight game, you just might see Manning if he gets healthy.
And that has been a lot of the conversation. So much pressure on that man in his 4th year from Arizona State, making his 6th start on this cold night in Denver. Time now for the national anthem. Here's the stadium PA voice, Alan Roach.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Denver Broncos and the National Football League ask you to please stand and kindly remove your hats as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem, as performed tonight by Denver's own Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And coverage of tonight's national anthem has been presented by USAA, the official military appreciation sponsor of the NFL. The game of Week 16, Bengals and Broncos next on Monday Night Football.
You've been watching ESPN's Monday Night Kickoff, engineered by GMC and their lineup of Denali vehicles. ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
What is at stake tonight for Cincinnati and Marvin Lewis If they win, they guarantee a 2 seed, a bye for the Bengals. They're alive to be the number 1 seed. It would also give Houston the AFC South title and eliminate the Colts. On the other side, for Gary Kubiak and the Broncos, even though they lead the West by a half game, second place Kansas City has a playoff spot secured, and the Broncos do not. Win tonight, and they're in. Lose, and they risk missing the playoffs. We'll get to all the machinations as the game gets down to crunch time. Baby, it's cold outside. The 2 coldest NFL games of the season, the last 2 that were played. The Sunday nighter in Minneapolis, kickoff temperature was right around 14 degrees. Kickoff temperature tonight here in Denver, 16 degrees. The wind is light, but it's still biting. There is no precipitation in the forecast. A.J. McCarron gets his second start, and he and the Bengals will get on the field first. There was a little bit of confusion with the coin toss. I think everything was handled properly. Ed Hockley, who is the referee, didn't announce correctly what happened, but the right thing eventually did happen. So the Broncos will receive as Denver will kick off. Denver won the toss and deferred. So it's Brandon McManus to kick. Cincinnati has excellent special teams. Brandon takes back to get it. Off we go from Colorado. No return, and McCarron will get the ball at the 20-yard line. So that first career start was against San Francisco last week. It was a win. Remember, he came in relief of Andy Dalton, who has the broken thumb, and played the majority of the Pittsburgh game. At Alabama, he was great. Hey, this is bowl time. It's playoff winning time. In college, he won a bunch, including those 2 BCS national titles.
Is he talented enough to make the throws and quick decisions against the #1 defense in football?
Opening drive starts from the 20-yard line. They need to get the run game going. They need to get that man going. And a big hit on Jeremy Hill to start. A gain of 4 yards. DeMarcus Ware over there on the tackle. These guys up front are good. Andrew Whitworth getting to the Pro Bowl. Second time in his career. First time he was named and voted at the start of this. Handling the ball. Tyler Croft is in because Tyler Eifert is out with a concussion. Bernard and Hill run it. A.J. Green leads a receiving corps. A.J. 5 years in the league, going to his 5th Pro Bowl. After the gain of 4, it's tossed towards Green, brings it in, and holds on in front of the keep to lead Chris Harris, I should say, at the 33-yard line. It's a first down for Cincinnati.
Expect to see a lot of quick passes. Here's a slant route. Green against Harris. Harris struggled last week with Antonio Brown. Keep an eye on that matchup. Good start for the young quarterback. Get him some completions and success early.
And that is Harris coming over to this side, where Green and Jones are lined up in the slot, and Jones moved tight to the wing, Hill to the left. And he'll be tackled at the 37-yard line. It's a good first down pickup on the ground against this Denver defense, toughest to run against in the league. And these guys are a big part of the reason why. Wolf, Williams, and Jackson, the celebrities, are the guys coming off the edge. Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, both Honolulu bound. But Marshall and Trevathan will call their names a lot tonight. They're very active. In the secondary, the Pro Bowl corners, Talib and Harris. Roby's the nickel, but they get their safeties back. T.J. Ward and Darian Stewart, they were missing the last game. To have them back, very big for this Wade Phillips coordinated Denver D. For a gain of 5, Hill comes to the left. He's got no room to run, and it will be 3rd and 5.
Well, you see offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson of the Bengals. He loves to use exotic shifts, especially early in the game. He wants to see if the defense is prepared for him. If they're not, he'll continue to dial them up. But here's McCarron on 3rd down, and this is when the crowd gets into it.
Giovanni Bernard is the back. He's got it. He's got the first down on great second effort, banging through 2 would-be Bronco tackles.
Well, Denver shows a blitz. You're going to see both linebackers bail out of there, and Giovanni Bernard, with the unblocked DeMarcus Ware, gets it done by himself. Missed tackles by Roby, Stewart, and a huge first down. Giovanni Bernard is going to be a key to this game, Mike. He can run it, catch it, and he's also a good blitz pickup runner.
Bernard has more rushing yards and a better per carry average than Hill does this year. Hill's back in. He's got Ryan Hewitt leading the way, but it's McCarron who throws a beautiful deep ball, incomplete for Jones. There was a play against San Francisco in the second quarter, very similar to that last week. He just missed him by about a step. Well, John, they are missing Tyler Eifert. I mentioned when we went through the lineups, 48 receptions, 12 touchdowns, great in the red zone. With that concussion, he's played very little here in the last 4 games.
He's been hurt all 3 years. That's the big concern with Eifert, but it's going to be Tyler Croft, a rookie, number 81 out of Rutgers. He's got to step up, blocking and receiving for this Bengal offense.
And because tight end blocking is not great, they use a lot of extra linemen, and Cedric Ogbuehi, their first-round pick, is in there as an extra blocker to protect McCarron, who fires on time, and the toes tapped inbounds by Green. Yes, at the 38, they say a 17-yard gain and a first down, Cincinnati.
I like the pass protection. Good sideline work by A.J. Green, dragging that right foot. Impressive throw by McCarron. But the pass protection, Mike, held up against that 5-man rush that Denver likes in their base defense.
Von Miller out the last couple of plays for the Broncos, as Cincinnati has a good opening drive going. It's play 8. And it is Hill patiently through the blocks. And a strong first down gain by Hill. He's had a couple of 5-yard gains. John, so it was around this time last year where Hill really started to emerge as the back out of the 2-back system with Hill and Bernard. He was a rookie last year. Now in his second year out of LSU. This year, it just hasn't been there. 3.5 yards a carry, no 100-yard gains. His longest rush is 17. They need him this time of year.
They definitely need him, and 17 yards as a long game with 188 attempts. Not good enough.
They're staying out of 3rd and long. This is 2nd and 5 after a 5-yard run for Hill. Again to the left side. And led by Malik Jackson and Sylvester Williams. The Denver defense is there for a limited game.
Well, it's a counter play. The Bengals like to pull backside linemen. You're going to see Zeitler at right guard. It's an unbalanced formation. Croft, number 81. Not much happening at the point of attack. Another 3rd down and 4 for this Bengal offense. A.J. Green been the primary target on the first couple throws by McCarron.
You see Von Miller back in. He and DeMarcus Ware ready to come off the edge. 5 DBs for the Broncos. And a timeout taken by Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, that's their first. It's a 30-second timeout.
The 3rd and 4 coming up at the 32-yard line for the Broncos. John, as you watch a young quarterback early on come on the road, and he did against San Francisco. This is even taller grass to deal with. One of the things you're watching here is he gets his feet under him.
Well, obviously, he's had all the practice reps now for 2 weeks. He's on the same page as offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson, and he's got a contingency plan. He has a plan for what to do if Denver shows him a blitz. He has the freedom to audible. He's calm and cool, Mike. He's been in the big arena before, and so far, so good. This has been impressive.
Zeitler, the guard, came off the bench late. Tight bunch formation to the right. Everybody's blocked, and the pass is caught. Jones tries to get that 2nd foot down, and he does at the 21-yard line. What a grab by Marvin Jones in front of the nickelback Roby.
What a throw by McCarron. He puts the ball up there at eyeball level where these big receivers of the Bengals can go get it. I say give it to him.
Yep.
Just isolation one-on-one routes. So far, Hugh Jackson trusts his receivers against these talented Bronco corners.
McCarron has opened 4 or 5. Taking an end zone shot. Out of bounds for Green and incomplete. A.J. Green covered by Roby that time.
Well, Cincinnati's not backing down. Roby's a first rounder. Aqib Talib, Harris are going to the Pro Bowl. Roethlisberger threw for 380 yards against these Broncos last week, and Hugh Jackson being very aggressive with these isolation one-on-one passes to A.J. Green and Marvin Jones.
Broncos 4 defensive backs against the 3 wide. Little option look. And the pitch to Hill. Got around the edge past Ware. And got a first down inside the 10. Will be first and goal for Cincinnati at the 8-yard line.
I don't think Denver was prepared for the speed option. They're going to not block DeMarcus Ware. McCarron's going to take the ball to Ware. And if Ware takes the quarterback, he pitches it. Very creative play selection, Gutty call, running a speed option with A.J. McCarron against DeMarcus Ware.
Slowed by that lower back injury, missed 4 games earlier this year. This is 3rd game back. Some surprise he made the Pro Bowl by missing those 4 games. It is first and goal for Cincinnati. Giovanni Bernard picking through the pile, gets to the 5-yard line. So a good running start for Jeremy Hill, and now Bernard comes in here inside the 10-yard line. We mentioned Wade Phillips, 3rd of a century in the NFL. A lot of those years as a head coach or a defensive coordinator. He returns to Denver, where he was in the early 90s, and his top defense in terms of yards allowed, total rushing and passing, being moved on in this opening Cincinnati drive. 6 offensive linemen. Jake Fisher's the left tackle. His 2nd-round rookie. McCarron flagged down as he scans and throws it away with the flag came down. Fisher, who has been targeted twice as a receiver and has 1 catch this year. Ed Hockley is the referee tonight. Continue the conversation there with Fisher. As I mentioned, John, targeted twice. That 2nd-round tackle out of Oregon, 1 reception this year.
I wasn't expecting speed options and play-action passes to tackles on the first possession, but Hugh Jackson is empty in the bucket.
There was no foul on the play. Number 74 reported as an eligible receiver. It's 3rd down.
Well, it's a play-action pass, and they're looking for Fisher, an offensive tackle. They're going to run a play-action pass and try to fool the Bronco defense. Luckily for Denver, Brandon Marshall, number 54, wasn't buying it. 3rd and goal. 14th play of the drive. Fatigue perhaps setting in on Denver's defense.
Drive has taken half the quarter. Can Cincinnati get in? McCarron with a hand signal toward Green. McCarron looks and throws to Green. A.J. caught it, got his feet down. Spectacular touchdown for the Bengals.
Spectacular, to say the least. One-on-one isolation, our best against your best on Monday Night Football. Let's go at it. Just a high point fade at the back pylon, and A.J. Green gets them both in for the opening score. A.J. McCarron proved a lot in that opening drive.
Watch it from pylon cam. The catch securing against his chest, then both feet down. He goes to the ground and keeps the ball pinned to his chest. And being confirmed And it is confirmed as a good catch and one heck of an opening drive on the road here against the top-ranked defense in the league. Mike Nugent on for the extra point. The holder is the punter, Kevin Huber. And Nugent knocks it through. Took half the quarter. A.J. McCarron leads the Bengals 80 yards down the field, and Pro Bowler A.J. Green with another spectacular touchdown grab. ESPN's Monday Night Football brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA, and Toyota. Let's go places. You want to go places, come here. Spectacular vistas all year, special little powder on the mountains. Ski season is here. We've had plenty of snow in the Rockies. Our coverage tonight from Spider Cam brought to you by DirecTV. Denver wins the toss, defers. Cincinnati takes it against this top-ranked defense and goes down the field 80 yards, 15 plays, half the quarter, and many poised plays made by McCarron. They stayed out of those 3rd and longs that you don't want to be in the noise against this pass rush. Up 7-0. Mike Nugent will see this kick come to the goal line, and Andre Caldwell will bring it out. And Caldwell will be hit at the 24-yard line, tied up by Emmanuel Lemure on special teams for Cincinnati. Talk about the poise. How about experience in your second start? Confident enough to make the hand signal to A.J. Green, run the route, score the touchdown. Sold out, as usual, Sports Authority Field at Mile High. They waited half a quarter to see Brock Osweiler and their offense take the field. Drive start from the 25. Osweiler's slant is caught. And it's Demaryius Thomas with a gain of 6 in front of Adam Jones to the 31-yard line. So Osweiler picked in the 2nd round. His 4th year in the league. First chance he has gotten to start after the apprenticeship, 3.5 years behind Peyton Manning. Career start number 6. Been good first halves and struggles in the second half of late. Ronnie Hillman gets the first carry for Denver, and he takes a first down as Michael Johnson was trying to rip the ball out of the hands of Hillman, who runs behind this offensive line. Max Garcia starts again despite Evan Mathis being healthy. 3 first-year players up front. Hillman and Anderson will carry it. Sanders and Thomas, another 1,000-yard season likely once Sanders gets a couple of catches tonight. And more 2 tight ends from Denver as the season has gone on. Vernon Davis with some drop problems over the last 2 weeks. Blitz comes. Burfict couldn't get there. Osweiler's pass incomplete, intended for Vernon Davis. There's a flag down right where the pressure was coming.
Vontez Burfict on a blitz.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 55. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Burfict goes right after Hillman on a blitz. And as he gets to the quarterback,
the left hand
there it is on the pickup. You see, it's a good call by the official. First down, Denver.
They brought both of those active linebackers, Burfict and Maualuga, to pressure Osweiler. So first down at the 41, and this will be just about 2 yards on that run for Hillman. That Denver defense has all the yard ranks at number 1. This is the toughest defense to score on the league. Dunlap and Atkins, outstanding double-digit sack men. A.J. Hawk plays the base. Maualuga and Burfict. Having Burfict healthy is a big deal for them. In the secondary, Drake Kirkpatrick and Adam Jones on the corners. Sean Williams starts at safety along with the Pro Bowler Reggie Nelson. Nelson going to Honolulu for the first time. Williams starts for the injured George Iloka. 2nd and 8, Osweiler taking off, and he'll go down at right around the 49-yard line, just a couple of yards shy of the first down. Flag down in the secondary.
Bengals blitzing early.
Illegal contact, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Adam Jones, the conversation perhaps involves, is the quarterback still in the pocket at that point if you're going to call any illegal contact? And they determined that was illegal contact, and the Broncos responding to the Bengals' initial drive already on the Cincinnati side of midfield.
It's important that Osweiler puts together a complete game, Mike. He has played well in the first half, not so well in the second half. Keep an eye on that.
C.J. Anderson now the back. And the big surge by Burfict blew that play up and limited the game.
Juwan Thompson's playing fullback. He's really a tailback. And when you make a tailback play fullback against Vontez Burfict, you might be sorry. Burfict is a real NFL linebacker. Outstanding against the run. He's healthy now. Played 65 snaps last week. First time I've seen him in their sub defense.
Quick count here on 2nd and 10. Osweiler on the boot, stops and gets thrown down by Carlos Dunlap.
That's on a quarterback, Mike. You can't get sacked on bootlegs. And keep an eye on Osweiler. He has a damaged left shoulder coming in here. But when you run a bootleg, we either fool him or we don't. We are not blocking Dunlap. So if he shows quickly in your face, throw the ball away right now. But do not take a hit, and definitely do not take a sack.
And he gets thrown down there, and John mentioned the shoulder. Broncos weren't talking about the severity of the shoulder injury. Jay Glazer reported on Fox yesterday that there was a degree 2 separation of that shoulder. We have confirmed that he is playing with a separation of his non-throwing shoulder, and you can see, John, right now he's being very careful about taking another hit there. That one was blown up by the Denver line trying to set the screen, and that third down pass is incomplete.
You got to put your hands on Geno Atkins before you release on a screen. Geno Atkins runs right by left guard Max Garcia. If you don't block Atkins and Dunlap, you're finished.
And that was your concern for Denver's offense coming into this game. Could they hold up against the Cincinnati front?
No doubt.
Britton Colquitt to kick it away. Try to pin the Bengals deep. Fielded at the 10 by Tate. Nowhere to go. Broncos needed a big play to get themselves fired up here. Shaquille Barrett, emerging outside linebacker, is going to make it a long field for Cincinnati, starting inside their own 10. This game, 16 games of week 17, and then the playoffs, and we'll be with you for the wild card game on ESPN, simulcast on ABC, also on ESPN Deportes. Our second year doing that game. The opening weekend of the playoffs, will have it for you. Who knows where we'll be? Looking forward to the postseason. This is the final game of calendar year 2015. And the Bengals started with their longest touchdown drive of the year. They start this drive, their second from the 10, and Hill with a nice jump cut gets to the outside and gets 4 yards.
You know, A.J. Green, the only receiver in NFL history to go to 5 straight Pro Bowls, Mike, to start his career. He's never seen this kind of one-on-one coverage. I don't care who's covering A.J. Green. I'd be surprised if Wade Phillips continues to give him these kind of looks. They've got to play some zone. Last week, Antonio Brown ripped Denver's one-on-one coverage. When you have a great receiver, you can't give him a steady diet of one-on-one coverage, or it's a matter of time.
6-0 lineman for the Bengals. It is Hill coming left. He gets stuck by Danny Trevathan. Really good linebacker, as you see over the years with the Bronco games, a gain of a couple of yards. John, big injury for Cincinnati. Ryan Hewitt, who's in there very often as a fullback, doubtful to return today with an injury.
See Trevathan get off a block. These two linebackers for the Broncos, very athletic. Trevathan had a bad injury last year. Great to see him healthy again. 3rd and 4.
That Hewitt injury, by the way, knee injury, doubtful. Bernard in the slot, empty backfield. McCarron in a tight window. Bernard with the catch, the first down. To the 24-yard line. Brandon Marshall, the linebacker for Denver there.
One-on-one coverage. You have to play one-on-one against the backs too. And just an inside move by Bernard against Brandon Marshall. Another tight window, accurate throw by A.J. McCarron. Impressive coming off your own goal line. 6 for 9. And he's done an excellent job changing plays at the line of scrimmage, and they've run a lot of different kinds of plays.
And one thing with Hewitt out of there's a little miscommunication in terms of the running backs who were supposed to be in. So Cincinnati's had to use its second timeout of this opening quarter. We talked to Andy Dalton yesterday as we visited with the Bengals. So disappointing for him. He misses his second full game. The thumb injury that happened after the interception. Stephon Tuitt, right thumb gets hit there as he goes for the tackle. The broken thumb, week to week, has been the term that their medical team has used on Dalton. Very frustrating for Andy because he was having his best season, had elevated his leadership role on this team. They take the cast off, they do more x-rays. Nothing super concrete to say that he's going to be around for the playoffs, but a win tonight for Cincinnati means it's going to be about 20 days till their playoff game, because they would ensure a bye, and that would be huge in their hopes of getting Dalton back. A lot of shifts and people moving around. First and 10 out of the timeout. And McCarron will take off, and he'll get the first down and slide down at the 40-yard line. A very good gain of 16 for A.J., who's having a great quarter.
A.J. McCarron is not known for his running. Earlier, he ran a speed option. Here he is speeding out of the pocket on a scramble for a first down. Very impressive performance so far by young A.J. McCarron,
who, as has been mentioned often, is not shy. He's got a cockiness about him, the confidence that Nick Saban had to tap down when he arrived in Tuscaloosa. Hill runs inside, and that's 6 yards. And John, I think it's a big part of this opening quarter story. On first down, they're running the ball and getting 3, 4, 5 yards to stay out of those long yardage situations.
Well, they're avoiding the negative yardage runs that have plagued this running game. Jeremy Hill, if you can block it where he can get through the line of scrimmage, he's a hard man to tackle. He's a big back, a punishing runner, a very good finisher. He's had his problems hanging on to the ball at times, but he's running well so far.
Winding down towards the end of this first quarter. One dominated by the Bengals so far. And Denver's defense needs a few more plays like the one Vance Walker just made. Limits the Hill gain to 1. 3rd and 3 will start the second quarter. Denver's trying to get into the postseason tournament. Cincinnati's already there. After one, advantage Bengals. Cincinnati 7, Denver nothing from Colorado on Monday Night Football. What a great football week on ESPN. The national semifinals, New Year's Eve, the Capital One Orange Bowl, Oklahoma, Clemson, and then the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. Michigan State and Alabama are going to line up and play some ball. The two winners go to Glendale for the College Football Playoff Championship game. You'll see it all on ESPN, including 3 more games on New Year's Day, including all you folks in Ohio, the Buckeyes taking on the Fighting Irish. Quarter 2 in Denver. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. It begins with 3rd and 3, with the Bengals leading by 7. Late rotation by that Denver defense. McCarron's throw is complete to Jones for the first down. And picking up the blocks, Marvin Jones takes it to the 38-yard line. It's a 15-yard gain.
Quick and accurate by McCarron on this hitch pattern. And Roby, number 29, goes for the interception. And Marvin Jones, who's had a career year going into his contract season, perfect timing, another first down. Credit this offensive line. They have been together a while, and it shows.
Run pass mix on first down has been 7 runs and 2 passes. And that line has been clearing some space. Now McCarron will throw. Choice route to the back. It is Jeremy Hill. It's only going to be a gain of 2 yards. So the Broncos, John, limited to only 10 yards because they ran 7 plays in that quarter controlled by Cincinnati. They had the ball for almost the entire quarter, save for that one quick drive.
Well, Denver has been pushed around. They've run the ball directly at them. They've created some short yardage third down situations, and these receivers for the Bengals are up to the challenge in beating one-on-one coverage.
Again, 6-0 lineman. Ogwehi 70 is in. Croft, the tight end on the left side. Hill. It's pulled back by Trevathan. It'll be a gain of 3. What'd you see from A.J. in the opening quarter?
I was impressed with the throws that he made. Maximum protection. He threw some beautiful one-on-one isolation cuts. A.J. Green, a fly stop to Marvin Jones. He hand signals. Touchdown, A.J. Green. And on this possession, he took off and showed his mobility. He's done some good things. At the line of scrimmage, recognizing a lot of different looks.
Normally, this is the edge of field goal range, but it's more in the field goal range of Nugent here at altitude. 3rd and 5. McCarron, everything covered, taking off, got away from the tackle, and his running ability has been big tonight for Cincinnati. We do have a flag down on the opposite side of the field. McCarron, unhappy with the way he was tackled, looked at Hockley and his crew for a flag.
When it's 2 deep man under, the #1 weakness against that coverage is the quarterback scrambling, and McCarron recognized that.
Holding, defense, number 54. It's a 5-yard penalty added on to the end of the run. First down.
2 deep safeties and man-to-man underneath, Mike, and nobody is responsible for the quarterback. Everybody's going to turn their back in coverage. McCarron sees an open lane, and he takes off for the first down. He's not missing much. He must have played for a pretty good college coach.
We know how great Nick Saban prepares his players for the NFL, and you're seeing that here with McCarron. He was out all of last year with a shoulder injury. Great start tonight. Pressure's on here at the 22. He gets away, throws on the run, and at the 10-yard line, Green with another sideline catch. And the Bengals receivers are showing their skills on the chalk tonight.
Well, A.J. McCarron feels a little pressure on the backside. He takes off, and A.J. Green tracks the sideline beautifully. So fun to watch this young man play the wide receiver position.
Now Wildcat with Mohamed Sanu, played some quarterback at Rutgers. They ran a snap of Wildcat in the second quarter last week against San Francisco. So Sanu will take the snap, run a read option with Rex Burkhead, and Sanu keeps it to the 7-yard line. That's a gain of about 3.5 for the former QB.
Doing a lot of different things. The last several times we've seen Denver in the red zone, they've given up 8 touchdowns in their last red zone possessions. Hugh Jackson throwing the kitchen sink at them. Speed options, passes to tackles. That time a Wildcat with Mohamed Sanu. What is coming next?
They take their final timeout. Significance here of taking your final timeout with 10:56 left in the second quarter. Cincinnati cannot challenge any plays for the rest of this half. So they've left it in the hands of the officials' call on the field for the next 8:56 till the 2-minute warning. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by GMC. We are professional grade. Nationwide is on your side. And NFLshop.com. Get a free shipping special offer on orders today at the official store. of the NFL. Temperature in the teens, very cool night to the single digits in the last 2 nights in Denver. Hasn't snowed since Christmas evening here. So again, Cincinnati is out of timeouts for the remainder of the half. No challenges here. It will go back to the Wildcats setup again as the quarterback McCarron goes to the far side, and Sanu is there with no running back this time. Sanu, designed, runs to the left, walks into the end zone. Mohamed Sanu with a touchdown, and the Bengals lead 14-0.
When Rex Burkhead comes into the game, something's up. And that time, it's a Wildcat formation. You're going to see Burkhead at the point of attack. They're going to pull Whitworth, their Pro Bowl left tackle. This one walks. When Burkhead comes into the game, something bizarre is coming. Credit these Bengals for getting off the bus and taking it to the Denver Broncos' #1 ranked defense.
Mohamed Sanu had a 25-yard rushing touchdown earlier this year. That is his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season and his career. Mike Nugent on for the extra point. Opening drive, 15 plays, 80 yards. Second drive, 13 plays, 90 yards. The Broncos can't stop them. They can't get the ball. Now they're down 14. Geno Atkins is a Pro Bowler. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Great sack performer, 6th year out of Georgia. He is playing tonight, cleared to play, despite being diagnosed with the sickle cell trait. He's one of some 2 to 3 million Americans who has that trait. It's an inherited blood disorder. And why is that significant playing here in Denver tonight? When you have strenuous exercise at high altitude, it makes those with the trait prone to dehydration, trouble breathing. We saw that happen to Ryan Clark. 2007 he played out here. He also carrying the sickle cell trait, lost his spleen and his gallbladder, 30 pounds, couldn't play that season. And then when they came back out here playing for Pittsburgh at the time, 4 years later, he couldn't play in the playoff game because of that. Doctors clearing Atkins to play, but they're certainly going to watch how much he plays, how many snaps. And with the Cincinnati defense only on the field for 7 plays in the first third of this game, that will work in Atkins' favor at the start. No return on this kickoff, and Lisa Salters can add to the Atkins story.
Yeah, Mike, I spoke to a sickle cell expert at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, and she said there's just not enough data to make a definitive stand on whether an athlete who is a sickle cell carrier should play at altitude. She said she's well aware of what happened to Ryan Clark, said players are different. Is it 100% safe? No. But she said if you closely monitor the situation like the Bengals seem to be doing, getting Atkins oxygen on the bench, limiting his snaps, she said you can manage the risk. Mike?
The offense has helped limit his snaps. We'll keep an eye on his usage tonight. Now the focus needs to be on Denver and an offense that needs to sustain a drive and stay on the field. Ronnie Hillman trying to do that. Big hit from Sean Williams out of the secondary. The gain is 5, but a flag came down in the backfield.
It's going to be holding, and last week against Pittsburgh, they had 4 holding calls in the second half.
Illegal use of the hands. Offense, number 68. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat first down.
Ryan Harris started the season at right tackle. He's playing left tackle. The great Ryan Clady hurt in the offseason, and this offensive line struggling. And you do not want to be behind on a scoreboard and in a down and distance against this crowd from Cincinnati.
4 out of every 5 plays run in this game run by Cincinnati. And the 6'7" Osweiler trying to get his team to sustain some offense here. Oh, that jump got Domata Peko into the neutral zone and dancing, and that'll get 5 penalty yards back.
False start, offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Peko was the one who was in the neutral zone. The ball wasn't snapped, but Demarius Thomas on the side was the one with the motion. Now it's 1st and 25.
These receivers are saying, are we going to get a pass thrown to us? Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders, they're used to Peyton Manning throwing the ball repeatedly in an up-tempo offense. Been frustrating on these 2 receivers, I'm sure.
Quick count, trying to get going here. And just a gain of 2 for Hillman, who gets thrown back. Very physical Cincinnati defense. Hard to run on the front, solid in the back end.
Well, they're just very good tacklers. Ray Malaluga, a physical inside linebacker. They rotate men up front. And they gang tackle you. This is where they want to be. 2nd and 3rd down in long situations.
Owen Daniels, the tight end, the lone receiver, bottom of your screen. Osweiler had to move off the spot. His release valve is Hillman, who takes it to the 14-yard line. Ronnie Hillman with a gain of about a half dozen. Still 3rd and 16 coming up.
Michael Schofield is getting help from his running back, but when you get a help from your outside, from your running back, you've got to protect that inside better than this. Dunlap, who had a sack on the previous possession on a bootleg, that time very close on an inside move that he has perfected.
And John, on 3rd down, we say watching and limiting and monitoring the snaps of Geno Atkins. 97 for the Bengals is lined up at defensive tackle in this pass rush situation. And Osweiler forced to take a timeout.
Kansas City Chief fans have to be loving this start.
This is Denver offense that was shut down its last 10 possessions in Pittsburgh. Trying to pick up 3rd and 15. Trying to do with Jordan Norwood. Not close to the 1st down. Michael Johnson roving around that defense. Forces a 3 and out with a couple of flags and a timeout used by the Broncos.
They go to a 3-man rush. They have 8 Cincinnati Bengals in zone coverage, and Emmanuel Lemure forces this punt.
Britton Colquitt will kick it to Brandon Tate. High but short, 40 yards, and return from the 35 by Tate. Made a man miss. It'll be a return of 3 yards. As they get everybody off the pile, and the Bengals will take over their best field position of the night, leading 14-0. It's been a good show for A.J. McCarron. Struggle for Osweiler so far. Same high school graduating class, both are 25. McCarron more time, more success in college, but Osweiler taken higher. They love the size, the arm. His 1 year as a starter, 4,000+ yards. First man to do that at Arizona State. McCarron, on the other hand, got the game manager tag, but managed the best back-to-back BCS national championships at Alabama in 2011 and 2012. When this one was on the schedule, you knew it would be a big game. You thought it would be Dalton and Manning. Instead, it's McCarron and Osweiler. Denver's defense needs to be heard from. McCarron swings it out, hauled in, stopping a dime, cut by Bernard, gets him 9 first-down yards.
It's a simple game right now for A.J. McCarron. They're using a Buehi as a tight end to protect. It's just maximum protection, and it's one-on-one route running. Which matchup do you want? A.J. Green versus Talib, or do you want to cut loose Giovanni Bernard? I like the way this Bengal team has been set up for the last couple years, and I am really impressed with this first half.
Coach Ryan Hewitt hurt before he's out for the rest of the game now. Declared out with a knee injury. 2nd and 1 run. Bernard just finds a little small window to get that first down and get to the 49-yard line. So they've been really careful, John. This 3rd year back is 5'9". Bernard don't want to overuse him, but want him to be effective, and he was the more effective running back at the start of last year and has been the start of this year as well.
Well, it's that time of year where we're not saving anybody for anything. Bernard started last week against the 49ers. In these money games, you need your money players to step up. I think Bernard is one of the top all-purpose backs in football. Reminds me a lot of LaShawn McCoy. Electrifying with the ball in his hands.
Yard shy of midfield. McCarron slant perfectly thrown to A.J. Green. Took the big hit from Harris, and Bush had the bigger hit but it's a 14-yard gain and another first down for the Bengals.
Just one-on-one coverage, and A.J. Green said it earlier, 5 straight Pro Bowls. He has not seen a steady diet of one-on-one coverage ever. And it's Harris this time. Very difficult man to stop.
Look at that. The Bengals have run 31 plays, 15 first downs on those 31. This is a penalty for a false start. We'll back them up.
False start, offense, right guard, 5-yard penalty. It's first down.
A.J. McCarron obviously playing in the cold weather, John, against these corners like Harris and Talib for Marvin Lewis's team. And I asked A.J. about the coldest games he's played and if he thought about wearing a glove. He said, no, he's been fine. Cincinnati does a lot of their practicing outdoors, so he has gotten used to the cold weather. Obviously not doing a lot of it during his college days at Alabama, but no glove. So like you wouldn't need it in the cold tonight. Twisting run by Bernard. Denver trying to hit him hard and get that ball out of there, but Bernard hangs on for the gain of 4.
This has not been close in the first half. I credit Marvin Lewis and this Bengal organization, Mike. They've had a lot of continuity on their staff, continuity on the team. They work well together. They are quick to make adjustments. And if you like competing and like football, you're going to like playing for the Cincinnati Bengals. I said it to you in the preseason way back in Tampa. I think this is the best roster in pro football, and what they're doing with their second game player at quarterback against the #1 defense is impressive.
Late play clock. They don't have a timeout. Bernard comes in motion to get that pass, and it's incomplete. A little bit of confusion to start that play with Bernard and Jeremy Hill. Bernard was on his way to the bench because he got hit hard on that first down run. John, you talk about the depth of the roster. These are the Pro Bowl guys, and many of them brought in recently with the draft of A.J. Green that came along with the Andy Dalton draft. Veteran like Whitworth finally being selected outright, not in making it as an alternate as it did the other time. And Tyler Eifert, that tight end out of Notre Dame.
See if this Denver pass rush can cut it loose. Where is Von Miller?
There he is. And he's blocked. McCarron pass is caught. It's a first down. And that's Tyler Croft in for Tyler Eifert. The rookie out of Rutgers keeps another Cincinnati drive going.
Got to credit Andre Smith, too, the right tackle of the Bengals, working in one-on-one pass protection against Von Miller. And A.J. McCarron on time and accurate. Tyler Croft, a rookie out of Rutgers, secures it on impact. Huge first down, Cincinnati.
DeMarcus Ware now bottom of your screen, trying to get in there and make a play for Denver. He's going to be part of the tackle here as they'll stop Hill and make it second and long. Also Corey Nelson, the second-year man out of Oklahoma, in there as Wade Phillips tries to find some package of defense that can slow down Cincinnati, get the ball back before halftime.
Well, Cincinnati been running the ball on first down in these two-back sets. That time Wade Phillips called a run blitz and it worked. Can Denver get there with their pass rush?
Second and 13, they say it off in time on that snap, and Hill runs into Vance Walker. Blake's still churning, so they don't stop him with forward progress, and they'll give him a gain of a couple of yards.
Watch Andrew Whitworth at the end of this play. 34 years old, the oldest offensive lineman in the NFL. Going to his first Pro Bowl because of plays like this. It's a draw play. He sees Jeremy Hill. He says, you know what, I'll help you. I'll help you. I'll keep grinding, getting another 2, 3, 4 yards. I love that kind of effort from an offensive tackle. Good for him going to his first Pro Bowl. Well-deserved.
Lost a bunch of weight in the offseason. One of the most enjoyable players in the league to talk to. Would love to make a deep run in the postseason. Pressure comes. McCarron taking the shot to Jones. Incomplete. Coverage again with Bradley Roby, the nickel. From here, a field goal would be 45 yards.
Well, when you blitz, you ask your corners to play one-on-one coverage, and credit Roby with an important coverage down. And here's Nugent, Mike. The altitude is one thing, but you still got to be accurate with these kicks. I used to see my kickers out here trying to kick it out of the stadium.
Janikowski and Leckler, when you were with the Raiders?
Exactly.
It's shocking. You'll have a text on your phone from Leckler in 2 seconds. From 45, Nugent. Missed it right, no good.
That's big for Denver.
Huge for the Broncos with 2:26 to go. Chance for Denver, down 14. One of the main topics of conversation with Brock Osweiler, down 14-0 now, is his size at 6'7". Tall quarterbacks. At your QB camp right before the draft, you guys talked about that size.
Here's an example of what I think might be a disadvantage in being 6'7".
Okay.
Is the defense can see where you're going too. All right. So you've heard about eye manipulation. My good friend Jaws talks about eye manipulation. He's exactly right. You got to be able to look these defenders off. Trust me, this middle linebacker right here in his zone coverage, he's able to read your what?
My eyes.
So if you telegraph throws at all, you're going to get busted more than most quarterbacks.
Always talk about Dan McGuire. Mark McGuire's brother is one of the few tall quarterbacks we've seen at this height in the NFL. There are several challenges for a quarterback at 6'7".
Well, you don't see a lot of 6'7", 6'8" quarterbacks. You don't see a lot of shortstops either, or point guards. They have a longer delivery, not sometimes as quick as some of the more conventional size quarterbacks.
Got to get going here from the 35. Owen Daniels, a gain of 8 to the 43-yard line. Going to jump into no huddle here. Trying to get another play in before the 2-minute warning. Trying to jumpstart this offense as well. Officially gain of 9. Osweiler reloads, goes downfield deep, and open is Sanders. Sanders ruled down by contact at the 21. He had broken free and was behind the secondary. Osweiler finding him late. So the missed field goal and the 2 big plays, including that 35-yarder.
Down by contact, and that's the 2-minute warning.
Ignite the Broncos. As Ed told you, we're at the 2-minute warning. Denver down 14, but driving. What happened on that big play, John?
Well, Cincinnati blitzed at the top of the screen, and you're going to see the Bengals try to get back to this 4 cross coverage, and at the bottom of the screen, Drake Kirkpatrick blew the coverage. When both receivers go vertical, Kirkpatrick has to go vertical. Blown coverage in a critical situation before the half gives Denver life.
And there is the hit to the head that allowed the down by contact. 49 yards in the last 2 plays, making up for the slow start by Denver. So from the 21, Osweiler. Back across, finds Ronnie Hillman for the first down. Inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. It'll be first and goal for the Broncos.
Good job by Osweiler in the pocket. He's looking down the field, and you see that height come into play. He can see down the field, perfect vision. He slides with the rush and finds his outlet receiver. Well done. You can evaluate quarterbacks any way you want, Mike. When I evaluate them, I like to see them in the 4th quarter when they're tighter behind, and I want to see them against top-ranked defenses. I can't wait to see Osweiler finish.
2 plays called in the huddle. Kills the first, gets to this one, which is Hillman, who got away from 1 tackle. Hillman turns on the speed, and he's pulled down by another speedy player in Drake Kirkpatrick. Inbounds, the clock winds with 100 seconds till halftime.
Geno Atkins got off the ball that time. Number 97, outside shoulder of the guard, jets up the field. Fortunately for Denver, Hillman has some stop and start quickness. 2nd and goal.
Your 2,000-yard receivers, Emmanuel Sanders, Demaryius Thomas, go to the top of the screen, and Jordan Norwood joins them. Osweiler looks back that way. Everybody's covered, and he's brought down On the pressure, Carlos Dunlap trips him up at the ankles with the sack. It's third down coming.
Got to throw the football away in these situations. And Carlos Dunlap, we talked about it in the pregame. If they don't help Michael Schofield, it's going to be a long night. Good coverage, zone coverage. Nowhere to go. Osweiler's got to throw the ball away, but Michael Schofield is going to need help against Carlos Dunlap. Khalil Mack got him 4 times 2 weeks ago, Mike.
Gary Kubiak's going to let the clock run down. They call timeout. You see Osweiler holding that elbow. It's that non-throwing shoulder and the non-throwing elbow giving Osweiler some pain here, as he has taken a lot of sacks for the limited number of passes that he's thrown here this season. Timeout Denver, 26 seconds till halftime. 3rd and goal. Bengals, only NFL team this year, has not allowed a touchdown on a drive that has begun in the last 4 minutes of either half. They close strong, trying to do it here as Osweiler, 3rd down. It's going to have to be run after the catch for Thomas. Taken out of bounds at the 5-yard line by Drake Kirkpatrick. And Osweiler heads off as the flexing that elbow we saw going to break. This was the play before as he was sacked by Dunlap. Wallace Gilberry falls on him. And Osweiler was flexing that elbow all the way over to the sideline and during the conversation with the Denver coaching staff.
Well, that's why the Bengals are the #1 scoring defense, Mike. They're a hard defense to get touchdowns against. Only 17 points a game they have given up.
Brandon McManus from 23 gets Denver on the board. So the Broncos stop the bleeding a bit, and they get the ball to start the second half. 14 seconds till halftime. Brock Osweiler going over what the Cincinnati defense gives you a lot of looks is trying to do. It was a tough second half against Pittsburgh last week. This was that injury to the non-throwing shoulder. We saw him holding the elbow on that same side after the last series. So Osweiler has taken a physical punishment. John, we mentioned it in break. He takes a lot of hits for a quarterback who has now thrown, let's see, 222 passes. He's been sacked 21 times. That's 1 every 10 or so dropbacks. That's a pretty high ratio.
Very high, and got to be corrected quickly.
Quickly fielded by Jake Fisher, who pitched it back to Cedric Pierman, who gets down to avoid any major faux pas. Toyota halftime's coming up with Chris Berman. We'll have Boomer's final drive. Look at penultimate Sunday in the league and the Jets, who got themselves in position. And Julio Jones made that catch over Luke Kuechly, the signature moment in the first loss of the season for the Panthers. Adam Schefter, Chris Mortensen have the insider updates for you as well. Toyota halftime, seconds away. As we said, the Broncos will get the ball to start the second half. Cincinnati had 3 good drives. Missed field goal keeping them alive. Denver gets their 3, so they are down 11. This is a Bengal team that has won their last 29 when leading by 8 or more. Longest streak in the league. If they add to it, they'll have a bye to start the AFC playoffs. 14-3 Cincinnati, and here is Chris Berman for the Toyota halftime. Let us be the first to wish you a happy new year, Boomer.
Thank you very much, Michael, and right back at you. Good to be
back in Cincinnati. 14-3 Denver. Hard to believe it's the end of season 46 of Monday Night Football. 12 games decided by 8 or fewer. We've never had a Monday night season like this one.
Stafford complete. Calvin Johnson to the end zone, bubbles it, and it's ruled a touchback.
What a punch by Chancellor. He's down, seeking space. He's in for the touchdown at the gun. Rough looking left. Deflected in the air. Keefe has the interception. Panthers win in overtime. 51-yard kick, and it's blocked. It is picked up by Will Hill. Hill's going to get a block. Will Hill is going to win the game on a blocked field goal. Unbelievable. Will Hill thrilled me. What a play. Touchdown. Oh, down. Jackson, big circle
some great games, haven't we?
We certainly have. It's been a lot of fun, and the Denver fans hope there's a comeback like that here in the second half as they're down 14-3. And John, the significance here, Cincinnati still has a chance to be the #1 seed if they can find a way to win this game and then win next week, and then New England loses to Miami. But the Denver story here is the one that's most interesting to me. Denver can drop all the way down here. Kansas City would be the team coming up to the 3. They'd be in control of their own destiny. This has got to be a shock to the system for the Denver folks because they started 7-0, and now, John, they're looking at 10-5 if they don't rally in this second half.
Yeah, and what's shocking to me as an alumni of this AFC West is the Chiefs could make one of the most improbable comebacks to win a division in the history of this AFC West, but Denver's got to get it together in a hurry. They're in trouble.
Where on the offensive side can they sustain a little bit because it was so imbalanced in that first half? The defense couldn't get off the field. The offense couldn't build drives.
Oh, Cincinnati took it to this #1 Bronco defense on the ground. They set up some third down and shorts. Credit A.J. McCarron. He converted them. And now it's up to Gary Kubiak and his young quarterback, Brock Osweiler, to show their mettle. Osweiler has to win games like this in December at home against a good defense like Cincinnati.
He's going to get the ball to start this second half. Nugent with the kickoff. This one deeper than his first, but from 6 yards deep. It's coming back. Andre Caldwell will not get to the 20-yard line. Lisa's got the Denver story from the half.
Mike, I talked to Gary Kubiak and asked him about the health of Brock Osweiler after he got hit on the left shoulder and elbow at the end of the second half. And he said Osweiler's left elbow is sore, but he is okay. He said he did not receive any treatment in the locker room at halftime. I asked Kubiak, how do you generate some more offense? He said, we have to have the ball. He said they controlled the ball in that first half. Their offense stayed on the field. We've got to get the ball, keep the ball, try to create some kind of tempo. Mike?
The imbalanced time of possession for sure, Lisa. Again, the temperature is around 15 degrees. Cold night. Osweiler to work. Deep shot downfield, double coverage, and incomplete. Coming over from the safety spot, Reggie Nelson helps to knock that one away. It was intended for Jordan Norwood.
You got to be real careful if you're Brock Osweiler. Reggie Nelson leads the NFL. Sorry about my little clicker there, Mike. He's in the middle of the field. Watch him read Brock Osweiler all the way, break on the football. He almost has his 9th interception. Nelson, the ex-Jacksonville Jaguar, has been a great Cincinnati Bengal.
Marcus Peters, the man he's tied with 8. Second down over the middle to Daniels is complete. Owen Daniels with a gain of about 6 yards. Well, the first half wasn't good tonight. It has been good the last few games. The problem has been the second half. Last 3 games, no points. First team since the 2011 Jaguars to be in that company. Now, Osweiler, his passer rating's been great in the first half and really poor in the second half. So you put those recent bits of history together on top of not a good first half, and Denver really needs to flip the script to find a way to win this key game. It is 3rd and 3. And good protection gives Osweiler time to find Norwood for the first down. Jordan Norwood out of Penn State, undrafted receiver who's with Philly and Cleveland. Seeing more of a role in this Denver team as we go through the end of the season.
And they're pushing the envelope right here. Denver at the line of scrimmage in this no-huddle offense. Trying to get Osweiler in a rhythm. Good move by Gary Kubiak.
The 32, getting quickly into the hands of Demaryius Thomas, who'll gain 7 before Drake Kirkpatrick tackles him.
Demaryius Thomas has done it all as a receiver in Denver. Played with Tim Tebow. He was a productive receiver. The Sheriff Peyton Manning helped him get to his first couple Pro Bowls. And once again, another big season by Thomas.
A big contract, $70 million, $43 million guaranteed. Pro Bowler again. Osweiler in the middle. Nice job by Norwood to avoid the hit from Perfect and get to the 47-yard line. So a little rhythm picked up by this Denver offense the last 2 drives.
Got to protect better, though. Pat Sims punishes Osweiler just as he releases the football. Garcia at left guard struggling in pass protection. Nice work by Osweiler.
C.J. Anderson is the back. It's been all in the air on this drive. Quick shot, Sanders, and Emmanuel Sanders with this tough tackling Bengal defense. Gains 7.
Boy, Leon Hall done it a long time as the nickel corner. Watch him come from inside out and make a beautiful one-on-one tackle against Emmanuel Sanders. 4 first-round draft choices in the Bengals secondary, and Leon Hall is shaken up.
The athletic training staff out. He applied the hit and is the one feeling the worst at this moment. He's got that head down going for the tackle there and glances across the mask of Sanders before Sims comes in to clean him up. And Hall walks over to the Cincinnati side.
Got to keep an eye on Josh Shaw, Mike, number 26. He's been their backup nickel corner. Shaw has played well when asked to. Another young player that the Bengals are counting on as a part of their future, but let's hope Hall's okay.
That's the rookie who started his career at Florida, then went to USC, and he was involved in that story of injuring his ankles where he said he was trying to save drowned nephew, but in fact he was making that up to avoid police domestic violence charges that were pending, but no charges were eventually filed. Shaw missed most of that season at USC and ended up being drafted in the 4th round. He's out there now. Good run here by Anderson to the 31-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Ray Maluga on a blitz. You're going to see Maluga come off the right side of the screen, and just good inside running by C.J. Anderson. Garcia up on the 2nd level, and impressive coming out of the locker room by this Bronco offense.
Kind of drive they needed from the 31. Osweiler steps up in the pocket and throws complete. It's the last second. Drake Kirkpatrick able to bring down Sanders. But the chains are moving again for the Broncos. 1st down.
Give this big man pass protection, and he can throw the football. Credit the offensive line. Handling this 4-man rush of the Bengals, and Brock Osweiler goes a bullet to Emmanuel Sanders.
I like the shot we saw right before the replay. He wants Gary Kubiak to get the play in quicker. Love when a player feels the tempo is going and he wants a little more accelerated. From the 15, Osweiler looking end zone for Thomas. Coverage Kirkpatrick. Fans want a flag on Drake Kirkpatrick. None is thrown.
You know, Osweiler was in a no-huddle offense at Arizona State under Dennis Erickson. Here he is looking for Demaryius Thomas. I think it's a good no call. Could be a little arm bar there, though.
Yeah, that part was there, that arm bar. That first initial contact. He may have been able to get by. There is John Elway watching. And has led so many great moments in Denver football history. Now is the executive vice president of football operations in his 5th year. Maybe the architect of a champ. Pressure comes. Osweiler goes to the other side to Thomas to the 10. So again, half the yards there. It'll be 3rd and 5.
You have to make one-on-one tackles in pro football. All these spread formations that Gary Kubiak and some of these great offensive coaches like to use force you to make one-on-one tackles. There's Shaw, the man we just talked about, filling in for Leon Hall, doing his job. 3rd and 4.
Thomas and Sanders again start on the same side, bottom of your screen. C.J. Anderson, the back, is up top.
4 down, Jackson.
Osweiler identifies the front. The Bengals bring 6. Open is Sanders, in for the touchdown, and Denver's back in it.
So much for that second half drought. Young Brock Osweiler comes out of the locker room with an aggressive no-huddle attack and puts Denver right back in this game. It's man-to-man coverage. It's an all-out blitz. Creative 2-receiver slot combination springs Emmanuel Sanders for 6. Osweiler did a lot of good things on that drive, throwing the football, he audibled, and executed a no-huddle offense. Well done.
Touchdown number 6 of the season for Emmanuel Sanders. Extra point from Brandon McManus. Denver in need of a little jump start. 11 plays, 81 yards, and Osweiler was 8 of 10 on the drive, including the touchdown pass. ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by NFL Playoff Challenge. Thought your fantasy season was over? It's not. Play for free at NFL.com/playoff challenge. 17 games left of the season. The rest of this one, 16 next week, and then the games that matter the most. Our coverage tonight from Spider Camp, brought to you by DirecTV. The field goal that was missed by Nugent, it would have made it 17-0 Cincinnati. Denver comes down. Instead of 17-0, now you're looking at 14-10. The small things that mean a lot when you're playing against good defenses in these playoff-type games. Good hang time on that kick by McManus. No return for Tate. It was a really, really good first half in the second career start of A.J. McCarron. What will he do in the second half? It's a tighter game now. His team leads only by 4. Cincinnati only had 3 full drives in the first half. You see they were controlling the game. The missed field goal changed it. They kneeled down to end the half. We didn't include that. Sellout crowd rocking the Rockies. McCarron takes over at his own 20. McCarron first down give. Jeremy Hill. Nothing.
Time for this Denver defense to live up to their billing. #1 against the run, #1 against the pass. That means they're #1 overall. Very few teams in NFL history have been #1 in all 3 of those categories. They need an impact play, a sack, a turnover, and Von Miller headed to the Pro Bowl again is the one that needs to do it.
Second and 10. McCarron, first look covered, in trouble. Flag down, got rid of it. Incomplete, got hit as he got rid of it as well.
Against Cincinnati.
Denver's going to back him up.
Offense, number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
The Pro Bowler Whitworth.
A.J. Green on his comeback route. I was surprised McCarron didn't throw it. And there's Whitworth holding Shane Ray, the rookie out of Missouri. It's a good call. Shane Ray, SEC Player of the Year on defense. Gives Denver some versatility and depth.
Draw. Hill. Nothing again. Brandon Marshall, Derek Wolfe. 3rd and long coming.
I like Wolfe. He's a grinder. Derek Wolfe. He could play inside or outside. He chews up blocks. He hustles. And Brandon Marshall is another ex-Jacksonville Jaguar. How many ex-Jaguars are playing in pro football for other teams? 3rd down and long. Got to be real careful here in this field position if you're A.J. McCarron.
And they will draw it just to be safe. The gain for Bernard is 4. It is 3 and out. And the Broncos' momentum continues.
Good call, I think, by Marvin Lewis and Hugh Jackson. You have the #1 scoring defense here in Cincinnati. Keep them in play. And here's Huber. Been a very good punter.
Yeah, John, we haven't seen him tonight. This is his first punt that he will hit. Jordan Norwood goes back to receive for the Broncos. Well, picked up middle rush there. Fair catch signal after a 47-yard kick taken at the 38-yard line by Norwood. Osweiler struggled early, got some momentum. A couple of good drives in a row. They'll try to take Denver down the field and give them the lead.
Welcome back to Mile High Stadium in Denver. I'm Lisa Salters with our ESPN Deportes reporter John Sutcliffe. who has some very exciting news for our network about the upcoming Super Bowl 50. John?
Lisa, it's an honor to announce that for the first time ever in the United States, ESPN Deportes will broadcast the Super Bowl. Álvaro Martín, Raúl Alegre will be calling the game. I'll be roaming the sidelines. So when all the familias, all the families gather around for Super Domingo, Super Sunday, gotta watch it on ESPN Deportes. What better occasion than Super Bowl 50?
Gracias, Johnny. Felicidades. Mike, back to you.
Thank you very much. We look forward to that for ESPN Deportes. Of course, our friends at CBS will have the English language broadcast here in the States. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms call Super Bowl 50 in Santa Clara coming up in February. Broncos down 4, trying to come back. Osweiler in trouble, and that pressure gets to him, and he is sacked. Wallace Gilberry joining Carlos Dunlap on the sack.
Going to jump the ball in a no huddle, but right tackle Schofield once again struggling with no help.
If they share that, it'll be 2.5 for Dunlap and take him to 13 sacks on the season. After the loss of 6, it's a 2nd and 16 run that will gain Hillman only 3 yards. Vontez Perfect in on the tackle. You see Leon Hall, he's back, was assessed for a concussion and ruled allowed to return.
Vontez Perfect is one of the few men in pro football you don't want to mess with for sure, Mike. He will hit you hard. Perfect played with Osweiler at Arizona State, and they give him a rest.
Eight covering on 3rd and 13. They're trying to stop Anderson, and they will, short of the first down. John, you talk about all the different defensive packages that Paul Gunther, the outstanding defensive coordinator for the Bengals, bring. There you see one on 3rd and 13.
Well, Paul Gunther knows he has a 4-man pass rush that can get there without blitzing, and so far, Carlos Dunlap looks like the Pro Bowl pass rusher. I know DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller are going, but the factor grade of Dunlap tonight has been huge for Cincinnati.
This is 4th and 5. Britton Colquitt on to kick. Tough to catch one. That will go out of bounds. Just about 40 yards of net with no return. Most special teams coaches take that any day. Shut it down Thursday and Friday, all football. Houston, Florida State. Oklahoma, Clemson, and Michigan State, Alabama in the 2 semifinals. Then on New Year's Day, the Irish and the Buckeyes. Stanford, Iowa in the Rose Bowl game. Oklahoma State and Ole Miss. Ole Miss playing in the Sugar Bowl for the first time since Archie Manning back in 1970. You'll see it all here on ESPN. The biggest college football games of the year, Thursday and Friday. From the 17, A.J. McCarron. Flush, sacked. Brought down with a loss of a couple of yards. He wants a face mask flag on Malik Jackson, who brought him down. There's no flag thrown.
Speed rush up the field by Von Miller, and Malik Jackson got away with a face mask there.
And that's one of those, if the umpire was back in the old position where the linebackers are, he would have seen it clearly. Nobody has a clean look inside there. And now we have Ed Hockley talking to the head linesman, and a flag is thrown very late.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97. 15-yard penalty.
Gary
First down.
Kubiak is nuts, and understandably so, because here's the line judge on the far side throwing that flag after the ball was marked ready for play, 2nd down. Nowhere near the flow of play. And at the end of the day, the right call is made.
Please reset the clock to 5:42. 5:42.
But at the back end, you understand what happened there.
Well, one of your line judges comes and says, hey, you missed the face mask. Trying to get every call right. First down, Cincinnati, and a big first down.
Certainly one that will promote some conversation. from the 32. Speed option again. They ran it in the first half successfully. A flag is down here as Jeremy Hill gets to the 39-yard line. It's a gain of, well, officially 8 if it stands, but let's check what that flag is.
Ran a speed option from an unbalanced line, and here's another conference.
There was no foul on the play. Number 70 reported eligible.
It's the second time this crew has missed an unbalanced line. They've called the penalty. That's an offensive tackle. They're in an unbalanced line, and it's totally legal. It's a speed option down the line, and the play stands. 2nd down and 2.
We talk about communication of guys who do report eligible. And it has to be not just with the teams, which is so important, but also amongst the officiating crew. But again, the right call does happen. 2nd and 2. 8-man front for Denver trying to stop the run. But with Jeremy Hill, they'll sledgehammer a first down. The 43-yard line inside of 5 minutes now, third
You
quarter.
get a guy like Jeremy Hill, Cincinnati could care less if Darian Stewart is unblocked or not. They're just running the ball against these loaded Denver fronts, and Jeremy Hill hasn't made a lot of yards tonight, but he has made some very impressive 3- and 4-yard runs to keep the Bengals in normal down and distances.
That 101's a big deal, John. The last 2 games, they've been in the 60s, 64 and 68 rushing yards. Not good enough at playoff time. Hill is out. Bernard is the back. McCarron hits him out of the backfield. In the open field, he limits Brandon Marshall's ability to just make it a 3- or 4-yard game with that good acceleration.
All these quick throws, high percentage throws, and a running game that has really not netted any negative yardage plays has kept this Bengal offense in great down and distances, and that's where you love to be as a play caller in 2nd down and 4 and 5, especially with a young quarterback like McCarron.
Especially on the road, especially against Miller and Ware off the edge, with all the noise and just pin your ears back pass rushing situations. 2nd and 4 at safeties, nosing up there. He smelled the run, and Stewart brings down Giovanni Bernard, the quarterback of the secondary, Darian Stewart.
There's Darian Stewart. He followed Kubiak from Baltimore to Denver. He's the quarterback of the secondary. Unblocked. You must make those one-on-one tackles. Impressive work. 3rd and 4, it's going to be man-to-man. Let's see if these Bronco corners are up to the challenge.
Denver safety's a lot deeper off the line of scrimmage. They're really smelling run so often in these early downs now. Here comes Stewart showing pressure again. McCarron sideline throw incomplete. Roby with the coverage on Marvin Jones. That Bengals sideline wants a flag, doesn't get it. They say good coverage by Roby, and it will be a punt.
These corners have no conscience. Roby got beat on the same route in the first half by the same receiver. Season's on the line for Denver potentially. Nice work by the Bronco defense.
Shiloh Kao has gone back to catch this punt of Kevin Hubers. Stands his feet on the 10. He lets it go. Can they stop it? No. Huber, who is as good as anyone in the league at kicking teams inside the 10, let alone the 20, couldn't do it there. Touchback and a 31-yard net punt. He said hello to America from Rocky Top and was chosen to top the class at 98. And for 18 years, number 18 has made his mark atop the NFL. The Sheriff's mark, indelible. All those battles with Brady, the epic comebacks, the unrivaled pitchman. He brought basketball country a football trophy. Bid farewell to them, only to return for a memorable hero's welcome. Now, his return here in the Rockies did bring another trip to the Super Bowl and more leading lines in that NFL record book. We don't know if we've seen the last of Peyton Manning, but we do know we won't see many, if any, like him again. Of course, Peyton Manning in the news this week with the story we talked about earlier regarding the documentary from Al Jazeera and the allegations that he vehemently and strongly denied. Manning was seen on the sidelines and on the field before the game, and was on the sideline last week when the team played on the road in Pittsburgh. These home games, Manning has spent a good part of them, especially
the few right after his injury, back watching the game, taking notes, sharing them with Brock Osweiler at halftime, and trying to help Osweiler, and both have said that their relationship has been really good. As Osweiler plays and continues to play well, you wonder if we'll ever see Peyton Manning add to these NFL totals. They hit record heights out here with this stop in Denver. All-time passing yards, all-time touchdown passes, and tied with Favre most wins. That happened in that last game where he was injured and pulled as the Broncos quarterback. After the running gain of 4, Osweiler inside throw is incomplete in traffic, trying to go to Norwood, which he's doing a lot because of the coverage on the top receivers. Maualuga there in coverage.
And here comes Geno Atkins checking back into the game for this 3rd down and long. Important here that Denver gets help for their right tackle, number 79, Michael Schofield. He's been beaten twice by Carlos Dunlap for sacks. And in this obvious passing situation, you got to keep an eye on 96 Dunlap. He's running hot right now.
Third and 6. Osweiler looking to get away, cannot do it. It's Dunlap again. It's going to be a gain of a yard, so he will not be credited with another sack, but it will be 4th down.
He's so quick to recognize the 3-step drop and so athletic. Dunlap. Might want to recheck the votes for the Pro Bowl. He should be there. He's had an unbelievable impact season for this defense of the Bengals.
Colquitt to kick. 37 taken on the run by Tate at the 40. Tate to the 44-yard line, and KO with the special teams tackle. He was in the Bengals training camp and playing here for the Broncos. So good field position there for Cincinnati, in part because this guy over by your shoulder helped with the big factor grade. Explain what the factor grade is that you look for, John.
Well, it's not all sacks. There's a lot of different categories that you can impact the game at when you're a pass rusher. Been watching Von Miller, been watching Dunlap, and if you're at home, tweet me, text me, do something to let me know which of these 2 defensive ends has the higher factor grade. Right now, my unofficial stats say 17-3 Dunlap over Miller.
And it's a point you make because we all look at sacks, but you put all these things when you're trying to factor the impact a defensive lineman, or in Miller's case, an outside backer, had on the game. From the 45, McCarron throwing sideline. Jones goes up. These receivers make tremendous catches. All the catches, John, they have made on the chalk tonight. That one, a gain of 8.
Pretty nice when you can tell a young quarterback, just throw it up eye level or above, and Green and Jones will do the rest. And you said it. That's some great footwork on the sideline, walking the chalk.
It's one of the things that Marvin Lewis said about McCarron and the way he throws to guys like Jones having a career season. Throws it really well at eye level, outside, easy for the receivers to catch. 2nd and 2, well read off the edge by Von Miller, and no gain. Miller's adding to his factor grade, Coach.
Yeah, he just heard me. He's now 17-3. He says, I'll make a play on the backside. I'll run this counter play down and stuff it. Von Miller, one of the best. And now they need him the most. 3rd down and 2. It's been 100% man-to-man for Denver in this situation. Who's it going to be, Roby, Harris, or Talib?
Interesting 3rd and 2. They go empty. Bernard in the slot. Motioning back, takes the pitch. Can they secure the edge? No! Great pursuit by Brandon Marshall. He was upset he didn't go to the Pro Bowl. Trying to show everyone why as he limps to the sideline.
He's shaken up, but they're going to run a toss crack to the bunch receiver side. And watch number 54 track Giovanni Bernard, sort through the trash and make a beautiful tackle.
Only points of the quarter for Denver. After 3, heavyweight battle living up to it. 14-10 Cincinnati. Denver's athletic trainer, Steve Antonopoulos, who's been doing it for over 3 decades, knows Greek to everyone around the league. He's taking a look at Brandon Marshall. They're retaping that ankle that he tweaked on that 3rd down stop that leads to this 4th down punt. To start the 4th quarter, it is Kevin Huber. Again, we talked about how excellent he is at pinning teams inside the 10. This time it's caught at the 9 by Kale, who returns it 5, really 4 yards to the 14-yard line. We have an injury back there for Cincinnati, right where the punt happened. With Sean Williams, their safety. And again, Williams is in there starting at the safety position because of the injury to George Iloka. Had a fourth-quarter interception against San Francisco last week. He got pushed back by Barrett into the punter Huber. It's one of those where you think Huber would be the one who got hurt the worst. But it is Williams in pain, and they are thin in the safety area.
This is a big injury, Mike. Excuse me. When you have to get to your third safety in this defense, a lot of communication and defensive coordinator Paul Gunther's defense. This could be a big problem for Cincinnati.
They look at Williams, and we'll step out for a moment.
Over the years, Clementine saw a lot. She saw Mark grow up. She saw him tempted, but she never felt threatened. Until Taco Bell introduced $1 Crunchwrap sliders, and Clementine began to worry for her personal safety. But little did she know that under her own body was a weird rubber plug. 4 big, full-size flavors that won't break the bank. Crunchwrap sliders, including new spicy beefy nacho and sriracha chicken for just $1 each. Only at Taco Bell.
Hey, Rogers! Discount double check! Every time you see me, you say that. Don't you say anything else?
Let me think. Discount double check.
Discount double check.
Discount double check.
Discount double check.
No.
Fair enough.
It pays to double check. Save big with State Farm.
Oh, I just remember in the country, we wasn't many things to do. Used to get off the bus, walk the dirt road to the house. We'd go in the yard and, cut grass, throw rocks or something like that. Kids game, it was tough with 2 sisters. We probably did like hopscotch or something. My youngest sister still playing ball. She swears she can beat me at anything. My family, I love them all.
ESPN's Monday Night Football is brought to you by Crunchwrap Sliders. 4 full-size flavors, only at Taco Bell. Capital One, watch the Capital One Beach Bash live Wednesday on Watch ESPN. And ESPNFanshop.com, powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. Barrelman's Barrel. The History Colorado Center, there's a big display of all the things that made Mile High so special. The stadium that the Broncos called home for 41 years before moving here in this newly constructed stadium at the very same site in 2001. From the 15 on first down, Osweiler looking left, got out of the pocket and completed it to Hillman. Adam Jones with the tackle. It was a gain of 7, and Sean Williams walked off to the sideline, assisted by the training staff. He comes back on the field after that first down play.
And Gary Kubiak once again using the no-huddle offense to limit some of the Bengal defenses.
2nd and 3, it's right back to Hillman, this time as a runner. He gains 2. Domata Peko, along with Ray Maualuga, will lay their weight on him. And Kubiak's played so many big moments of his career in this stadium. He was back up to John Elway. Of course, he was the offensive coordinator for the Broncos championships, quarterback by his great friend Elway, and now brought back after John Fox's 4 successful years. As Osweiler's been tabbed as the quarterback of the future, but the present provides the pressure for this group right now. Third and 1, and they'll throw it for Thomas, who got free from Adam Jones, but they overshot him, and it's 4th down.
3rd down and 1. They go to an empty backfield set, and they get Demaryius Thomas one-on-one, wide open deep. Thomas on a little slant and go, beats Pac-Man Jones. And the ball's thrown way over his head. Disappointing. Chance to take the lead.
Defenses have settled in and have the better of play from the middle of the third quarter on. Colquitt against a heavy rush with his best kick. 53 yards in the air. Tate retreats and is brought down. Tremendously covered by Kayvon Webster. Cincinnati will start inside of its own 20. When you have good defense against good defense, special teams need to be big. The backups for the season-long starters, can they step in and be the guys to take them not just to the playoffs but beyond? Backup quarterbacks have taken teams to the Super Bowls over the years. You go back to the 70s, and Bradshaw took the place of Joe Gilliam. Dan Pastorini wasn't the guy. It was Jim Plunkett who finished the deal. After Sims got hurt, if it was Hostetler. After Green got hurt, it was Warner. Our colleague Trent Dilfer replacing Tony Banks. And then, of course, the year where Bledsoe gets hurt by Mo Lewis in week 1. Brady takes over, and the rest is history. And now these quarterbacks, McCarron and Osweiler, along with Brady, Wheaton and Hoyer, Alex Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick, those are the quarterbacks of the teams that are trying to win the Super Bowl in the AFC. Can these guys take their teams deeper? It's a loud crowd McCarron has to deal with starting at their own 19. Barrett unblocked coming in. Hill the catch. Loss of 3. Bradley Roby, the tackle.
Shaquille Barrett, undrafted out of Colorado State, comes screaming off the corner, unblocked. And McCarron has to unload it into the flat. And Roby, number 29, read it perfectly. McCarron has been silenced, as has this Bengal offense in the second half, by the number 1 ranked defense in football.
They're missing Ryan Hewitt, the man who blocks for them so often. He's out, was injured in that first quarter with a knee injury. 2nd and 14. McCarron looks for a quick catch and run. Tyler Croft, the tight end, gains 5. Aqib Talib, the tackle. The Pro Bowler stop makes it 3rd and 9.
Credit Wade Phillips. He's playing zone coverage now. Ball's thrown in the flat. Aqib Talib says hello. Wade Phillips, if something's not working, he's not afraid to fix it at halftime, and you have to credit this Denver Bronco defense. 3rd down and 9, and this pass rush had 47 sacks coming in here tonight.
Twisting rush is picked up. Pass for Croft is incomplete. 3 and out for the Cincinnati offense, and the Broncos should have good field position.
That's what I do against A.J. McCarron. You play man-to-man every snap. You make things easy on them. Play zone coverage. Make them pass protect. Make them read a defense. And make Cincinnati catch the ball and run with it. Zone coverage paying off in the second half for Denver.
All right, here's Huber now. Not a good kick. 45 yards. Jordan Norwood took it at the 35. Tennessee Norwood. It's a big special teams tackle there. Big play by Cedric Pierman, who's a terrific core special teamer, to prevent a bigger return. Croft couldn't get his hands on it. 4 possessions this half for Cincinnati. 3 and outs. 12-team tournament, 9 are already in. A 10th will be in tonight. We'll see the wild card start the playoffs on ESPN, simulcast on ABC. The matchup will be determined on Sunday evening. The NFL postseason back on ESPN for the 2nd year. Of course, the game will be streamed live on Watch ESPN. Great field position for the Broncos from their own 48 with Brock Osweiler. Demaryius Thomas, they love this play. Love this play. Thomas gains 13, 1st down.
Mike, they fake a handoff one way, and it's a quick screen with an offensive tackle leading it on the perimeter. Ryan Harris leads this quick screen. They're going to fake the ball to C.J. Anderson, and they set up a convoy in front of Demaryius Thomas. 1st down, Denver.
At the Cincinnati 39. C.J. Anderson in the back, not much in the run game tonight. Anderson changing that here. C.J. Anderson gives the Broncos the lead. Touchdown!
C.J. Anderson came out of nowhere last year for close to 900 yards. He's been battling an ankle injury, missed the Raider game. Just a simple inside zone. He's going to cut it back, missed tackles, and C.J. Anderson's will gets it done.
Like he did to the Patriots to close business in that overtime comeback. That was a comeback that Denver had from down 14. They also came back at Kansas City down 14. They've come back from down 14 here to take the lead. Now can they hold on? C.J. Anderson to the house. They're rocking here in Denver. The Broncos on top for the first time tonight. Both Denver and Cincinnati are alive to be the #1 seed. They would need New England to lose at Miami and then win tonight and then win next week. But that Denver hope seemed a long way away just a short time ago when they were down 14-0 mid-second quarter, but they've come back to score the last 17. A Denver victory would put them in the playoffs, joining New England, Cincinnati, and Kansas City already in the AFC tournament. But what a momentum swing, John, from the end of the first half on through this second half. And A.J. McCarron's only 4 of 6 for 15 yards passing in this second half. And his team will start at their own 20-yard line.
This Gary Kubiak, well known for his zone running game. Everywhere he goes, they make yards with this zone running scheme. They can press it, take what's there, or they can trust the eyes of the back and cut it back. And if you list the backs that Kubiak has had success with, he doesn't care where they come from. Some of them aren't even drafted, like C.J. Anderson. Zone running game and Gary Kubiak go hand in hand. Let's see what McCarron's made of, Mike. It's slipping away for the Bengals.
C.J. Uzomah, the rookie out of Auburn, is the lead blocker, replacing the injured Ryan Hewitt. He's trying to get Bernard to the edge. He didn't get there. What a job by Von Miller to get the initial contact and limit the run.
When Rex Burkhead comes into the game, your tip sheet has to go off. Watch the crack. They ran this play on a Wildcat touchdown in the first half. That time Von Miller rejected it with help from Chris Harris. Keep an eye on Burkhead when he comes into the game. Things get creative on the perimeter, and Denver read it beautifully.
And John, that replay, see all the orange shirts there? I mean, they are flying to the football right now. Second and 11, now pressure. McCarron is sacked. Brought down by Derek Wolfe out of Cincinnati from college. Got a Cincinnati man here in the pros tonight.
McCarron is seeing the rush now in his second half, Mike. They're mixing things up. It's going to be a blitz on the strong side. And Wolfe, number 95, just stays alive and hunts A.J. McCarron for the sack. Third down and long, you must be very careful with your play selection. I know you want to drop back and heave one, but DeMarcus Ware at the bottom of the screen has made a living in these predictable passing situations.
Playoff just in time. McCarron down the middle. It is caught. Big first down, Mohamed Sanu at the 34-yard line. He was getting pressured. He got rocked, but he completed it for 19.
Third and 15, down 3, backed up. Stand in there strong and make an unbelievable throw. That's impressive by McCarron. Mohamed Sanu, a versatile Cincinnati Bengal.
McCarron comes over to the bench here for a second. And as he got hit, they'll come Wildcat after that Miller hit. They've run Wildcat a couple of different snaps, but they're a little confused here. Nobody out there knows to take a timeout right now, and they get to delay a game. Well, they got the timeout from the sideline.
Cincinnati, that's their first.
The advantages of the coaches being able to call the timeout there. Marvin Lewis getting down to the sidelines. Now, because a timeout was called, McCarron can come back in. Here's the hit by Von Miller.
Von Miller on an inside move, something he has really worked on to go with that speed rush that he has. Got home.
And then Miller was looking up at the big screen to see what happened to the play behind him. Lisa Salters.
Well, Mike, it looks like his left elbow is bleeding. You can see the blood coming through the shirt that he's wearing.
You see that as he came down on that hit and just caught it a moment ago. We'll catch him when he breaks the huddle here. The protection was very good early on. And that play, because McCarron was coming out for a moment, the communication wasn't crisp in terms of the personnel coming in. That's why that play clock ran down. So they used the timeout to avoid the penalty, and it's 1st and 10. Denver bringing pressure. McCarron throwing again on the sideline. It is Sanu this time. Takes a snap as a quarterback. He's run one in as a Wildcat. Now a top-level receiver catch for a 1st down.
Wade Phillips comes with an all-out blitz. It's 0 coverage. That means you're playing man-to-man with no help. And Harris has been in great coverage position 2 or 3 times tonight. But these Bengal receivers and the location of these throws has been a winning edge for Cincinnati.
Again, Ogbuehi, 70, the extra offensive lineman, is lined up bottom of your screen, right on the S in 1st and 10. There to block for Bernard. He pulled some linemen to try to give him a little lead. He only gains 2 yards. Do you feel, John, that they've had to get a little bit different in what they wanted to do running the ball because of that injury to Ryan Hewitt, who's usually a lead blocker for them?
I think so. They wanted to come in here and use a 2-back set. They're using C.J. Uzama, a rookie from Auburn, number 87, as a fullback. But Hugh Jackson's got a lot of plays on that sheet. We've seen it all tonight, from Wildcats to speed options, you name it. Jackson has it.
Off in time. McCarron looking down the middle for A.J. Green. Great play by Harris to break it up.
Great play against one of the best in all of football. A.J. Green flying to the post. And Chris Harris, with his recovery speed, gets it done. It's a post pattern. And A.J. Green, the most feared deep ball receiver in football, can't bring it home. 3rd and long, another premier pass rush opportunity for Denver. Expect zone coverage. It's worked well in this 2nd half.
Pressure up the middle by Kale. It's picked up. The crosser is Croft, and he got out of the tackle. Tyler Croft, the rookie tight end out of Rutgers, in for Tyler Eifert tonight with a big catch and run of 14. 1st down, Cincinnati.
Well, you play man-to-man. Everybody's got to cover. And you're going to see Bush, a backup safety, covering Croft on this shallow cross. You play a lot of steady man-to-man. A.J. McCarron has been able to get rid of the ball on time, and his receivers have made some catches and run after.
Denver's messed up on defense. They need a timeout. They only have 10 guys. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off, bud. Chris Harris was coming off towards the sideline, and they were miscommunicating. I'm sorry, John.
Good game.
What a game. 17-14 Denver. Cleaning up some things that happened on that last drive. Bush was in coverage because T.J. Ward was out. He's questionable to return with an ankle injury. That's what's forced him to miss the last 3 games. They lost David Bruton to a leg injury. He played with a fractured leg. Now, this is interesting to see because Andre Smith, the right tackle, moved after the movement from Denver. He was just trying to catch the Denver defensive end with his hand in the cookie jar. The question is, was the Broncos guy back on his side?
It's getting harder and harder to decipher what is a false start and what is offsides.
We're going to get Denver, I think, here.
Neutral zone infraction defense. Number 94 came into the neutral zone, causing a reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 1st down.
1st and 5 with 7:10 left.
This Denver Bronco defense has committed a lot of penalties this year. Next to the New Orleans Saints, Denver is second in penalties on defense. That's a huge one to set up Cincinnati with 1st and 5.
Fake to Bernard. Throw to the sideline. This one could not be brought in by Marvin Jones. Incomplete.
And remember, Mike Nugent missed the field goal in the first half from right around this area. And in a 17-14 game, it might just come down to Nugent again.
It was a 45-yard field goal. Distance was fine. It was off to the right. Last scrimmage was the 27 for that kick. 7 yards away from where the Broncos are now. Trying to get in field goal range. Here comes Ware, nosing in off the edge. Whitworth locks him down. McCarron's got nobody open, so he'll just bench it. 3rd down.
Denver doing an excellent job mixing it up in the second half. They've had more success playing zone coverage than man coverage. And on 3rd down and 5, is Hugh Jackson in 4-down territory. That would impact the kind of play he calls here if Marvin Lewis is giving Jackson a green light for 4 downs.
And interesting, they got the penalty, so they had 1st and 5, and they've thrown on 1st and 2nd down. Field goal from here would be a 52-yard attempt. Five in the pattern as McCarron takes the shot toward Green. Couldn't get there. Green had the step, the safety pushed, sprinting for his life back to get to A.J. And it'll be a field goal attempt coming up.
He had him. A.J. Green working against Roby. He's going to see his quarterback holding the ball. For some reason, A.J. looked like he stopped running, and then he turned on the jets. And that ball is just out of reach. Here is Nugent from 52.
On line. Long enough. And we are tied at 17. The Centerville Elk comes back to tie the game at 17. It's been our favorite part of the season. Monday Night Lights. Shine the Monday Night Football spotlight on some high school football players. How about Boulder High School? These guys every year adopt 70 elementary school kids and families in need, host a Christmas celebration for them. They were rewarded meeting Gary Kubiak and some of the rest of the Broncos. The Panthers had a 5-5 season. You know their coaches? Bob Simmons used to be on Bill McCartney's staff in Boulder and Oklahoma State head coach for quite some time. So congratulations to the Boulder Panthers, not for what they do on the field, but what they do in their community. Our colleague, one of our Monday Night Football, great production team, Chris Jarman, very proud Boulder Panther, and we are proud of Chris and the rest of our team that has done just a great job in this season 46, and another close one on Monday night. The return from Andre Caldwell, stopped shy of the 20-yard line by P.J. Dawson. 6:40 left, game tied at 17. What does a win mean for these teams? Whole bunch. Marvin Lewis and the Bengals, they would clinch a bye. So important in trying to get Andy Dalton healthy. Guarantee of a playoff game, that second playoff weekend. If the Broncos win, they clinch a playoff berth and have a chance to win the division on their own next Sunday, this coming Sunday, I should say, against the Chargers. And so many other teams with implications along the way as well. First down run by Hillman, got through the trash and gets about 7 yards on the carry. It's a good extra effort run by Ronnie Hillman.
Went on a quick count. Michael Johnson needs to wrap up and make that tackle. And here's Osweiler in the no-huddle offense. He's been in this attack throughout the second half.
Second to Atkins with good penetration, but he could not get to the back. And Ronnie Hillman has a first down for Denver at the 32-yard line.
This Gary Kubiak zone running game can wear you down. You're going to see Geno Atkins jet right up the field on the right side of the screen.
It's down for Osweiler. Right over the ball, 9 yards on the catch and run with Hillman to the 41-yard line.
Bengals tackling here in the fourth quarter not been good enough. That time Burfict, usually a sure tackler, misses on the check down. Got to wonder about this altitude.
Yep.
The Bengals, are they exhausted? Do they have enough left in the tank on defense?
Demaryius Thomas comes to the sideline for a moment for Denver. Second and 1. They blitz. They can beat this blitz if he turns the corner across midfield. And Anderson gets into Cincy territory at the 45-yard line.
Well, it's a blitz right up the middle. You're going to see 36 right side of your screen. Sean Williams, Maualuga on an inside blitz. It's a poor run fit, and C.J. Anderson gashes him. Running the football with Gary Kubiak. Hard to stop.
They're stopping the game for a moment because a Bengal player has gone down. And the fans are suspicious that he's just trying to slow the momentum of the home team. There's Domata Peko. Quickly looked at on the table, has helmet back on, ready to go. This is why the fans were booing. Peko was walking back to the huddle and then felt something and said, oh, I need to be stopped for the injury. Walked off. Now he's ready to go. Fans were wise to that. Felt he was intentionally trying to stop the momentum of Denver. Here's the throw to Jordan Norwood, trying to get the block from Sanders. He does, stays in bounds, and gets to the 38-yard line, 3 shy of a first down.
They have a strong running game, and if you load the box up, Osweiler has the freedom to throw these quick bubble screens. Makes you defend the entire field, sideline to sideline.
A little false count gave him a little idea of what was going to happen from the safety. And now, which side will be called for the flag? On the movement up front with Vasquez and Atkins.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 97. Came in, causing a reaction by the offense. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Take a look at Geno Atkins, 97. Hard count. Offsides. Bengals not tackling well at crunch time. Penalties. Sign of fatigue.
John Atkins has played about half the plays here. He normally plays 73% of the plays. Sickle cell trait. They were watching his number of plays in the altitude here tonight. That ball is knocked out on the head by Johnson. Free on the ground, and the Bengals have it. Cincinnati's running the other way, but they will rule down by contact. The huge hit on Anderson, I believe it was Michael Johnson, forcing the turnover. The first one of this game if it stands up. And both athletic training staffs out.
And Anderson is still down.
This is going to be close as we watch the replay here on the hit.
The injury timeout to Peko seemed to have energized the Bengals, and that ball is clearly out. What a hit by Johnson.
Reggie Nelson will be the one with the recovery. And watching if the ball is out before the knee comes down, and as it's a turnover, it will be looked at upstairs. Meantime, the concern on the Denver side is for Anderson, who took that huge hit from Michael Johnson, the 7th-year man from Georgia Tech. The turnover has been confirmed by the replay booth, and it is Cincinnati ball with 2 timeouts, 4:05 left in a tie game at 17.
Cincinnati recovered the ball. First down. At the
How do you play this year? 4:05 to go, tied at 17 on the Bengals side.
A lot of time left. They got to somehow get Jeremy Hill back in this game. 1 first down at a time. We've got a long-range field goal kicker in Nugent.
You always say, watch when Rex Burkhead is in the game. He's top of the screen, 33 in white. He's the man in motion. Coming down to block as they run inside with Hill. Powerful first down run. for 6.
That's what they were really good at, Mike, excuse me, in the first half. These 6 and 7 and 4 and 5 yard runs by Hill on first down. Use the clock a little bit and keep yourself in second and normal situations where Hugh Jackson has the entire playbook at his disposal.
McCarron, 2nd and 4. Nobody's open, looking to get away, and he gets out of the tackle box and throws it away. And incomplete. Derek Wolfe flushed him. Had the sack earlier.
And here, coverage down the field holds up very well. You're going to see A.J. Green on a slant route. Aqib Talib plasters to his man. There's nowhere to go. 3rd down at 4. Wade Phillips been playing a lot of man-to-man coverage in this situation. A.J. Green had a huge first half, been very quiet here in the second half, and we have some confusion in this Bengal huddle.
Again, they will have to take another timeout.
Boy.
You know, all of their timeouts have been on the offense and administrative timeouts, if you will. Nothing to stop the clock to preserve time or anything of the sort. So 17-17, the game billed as these two top defenses, one team leading the NFL in points allowed, that's Cincinnati, and yards allowed on the Denver side, and both have lived up to it as we've gone through. So the numbers and the math, New England knows if they win, they're automatically taken care of as the #1 seed. It's an odd night with both of these teams still alive for the #1 seed if they win out and then New England loses that game in Miami. But you mentioned Kansas City before, the interest that they're watching, because this could mean they control their destiny.
Yeah, how about Houston? They got a lot at stake back in Houston, too. There's a lot riding in these last 3 minutes. 3rd down at 4, Mike.
If Cincy wins, Houston is in.
Yeah.
Indianapolis hopes to stay alive. This is one of a 10-team parlay they need to get to the postseason. Ware unblocked, coming at McCarron, who rolled it, threw it. Burkhead caught it for the first down. Rex Burkhead at the 40-yard line with 3:10 left.
A.J. McCarron has been brilliant tonight on 3rd down for the Bengals. This time it's a sprint out to the right. Ware can't get there, and it's Rex Burkhead who can do it all. He was an outstanding runner at Nebraska, became a slot receiver last year with all the injuries. Now he's a joker, jack of all trades. He just made the biggest play, I think, of his young career.
Cincinnati needs to be more efficient getting the play in. 3:10 to go. McCarron throws it to Sanu. Marvin Jones could not get a block, and Harris makes the tackle.
So many of these quick screens, bubble screens, and so many of these defensive backs are getting tired of looking at them. Harris, Talib, Roby, get off blocks and reject Sanu. 2nd down and 11. This is the #1 ranked defense in pro football. Got to turn up the pass rush. It's Talib at the top of the screen, one-on-one with A.J. Green.
6 offensive linemen, including Obuehi, in on this one. McCarron. Sack! Vance Walker, his 2nd on the year.
Vance Walker, a backup defensive tackle in a rotation. Number 96 beats Clint Bowling for a huge play.
It is 3rd and 20 at the 2-minute warning. Game is tied at 17.
Back in Denver, 2-minute warning of the Monday Night Football season. Of course it's tied. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Levy. Coming up after the game, the GMC post-game report. I'll be joined by Ray Lewis, Steve Young, Trent Dibble will break down the entire AFC picture, recap the top 10 plays for the Monday Night Football season, and Michael Jordan's tribute to Kobe Bryant. All coming up on SportsCenter at night after the game. Mike and John bring us home.
I didn't hear a word you said. 3rd and 20. Place is going nuts. McCarron had to get rid of it. Croft tries to stay in bounds, almost lost the ball, but he stepped out of bounds at the 43-yard line. So not only does that come up shy of the first down, it also stops the clock and gives Denver 1:51 and 2 timeouts to use.
Tyler Croft with some fancy footwork on the sideline, juggling the ball to himself. Here's Huber. He needs to pin Denver deep.
Crazy play that would have been if he would have lost control. Huber kicking. Let's see if he's got the spin on it. No, he does not. So the Broncos will take over at the 20-yard line. The net is 36 yards, and here is Brock Osweiler's chance. 2 timeouts, 100 seconds. Can you get the ball 40, 45 yards downfield? Can you give Brandon McManus a chance to win the game and get your team in the playoffs?
Plenty of time left. How about the pressure on this young man? In the shadows of Peyton Manning, John Elway. They're looking for a young quarterback that can win these kinds of games. Season potentially on the line.
McManus made 56 and 57 yarders in week 1. It's a little colder. Ball doesn't go as far, but he can get it if they can get the ball around the 40-yard line. So here we go. Osweiler. Owen Daniels stayed in bounds, so that runs clock. Oh no, called out of bounds. So they say his foot came out. That's a break on the gain of 16 yards.
And Gary Kubiak, one of the best screen coaches in the league. Expect a screen at some point in time. You see Daniels working on the sideline.
And that arm coming down on the sideline as he came down is the reason that the clock was stopped for being out of bounds. Just by inches, it saves a timeout or 20 seconds. .132 to go for Osweiler. Dunlap pressure in his face. Osweiler throws in the middle. Daniels again, right on the edge of field goal range. Owen Daniels, 2 big catches.
Owen Daniels follows Kubiak wherever he goes. Seam route, left side of your screen. What a beautiful throw by Brock Osweiler. Standing tall in the pocket.
Gains of 16 and 26 at Daniels with Kubiak in Houston and in Baltimore, and now here. Final minute, pressure coming. Osweiler pass incomplete. Bengals trying to bring some heat. From here, the field goal attempt would be 56 yards. We talked about this before at the 14-0 deficit. They lead the league with the 2 14-plus point comebacks, trying to make it 3 and secure their place in the postseason.
Got to heat them up right now if you're Paul Guenther, the defensive coordinator of the Bengals. Any kind of completion in their field goal range, I expect a blitz from Cincinnati here.
Interesting, John. Thomas out, Sanders out for the moment. At the 38-yard line, it is Osweiler with his young crew out there. That's complete and caught by Benny Fowler for the first down.
Benny Fowler. Who are some of these young Bronco receivers? But Brock Osweiler, with time to see and get to his second option, throws another strike.
Fowler only has 3 receptions in his last 6 games. Out of Michigan State with a big grab to the 25. Final half minute. C.J. Anderson the back. And Anderson carries in the middle, and they just want to manage it here in field goal range. Now, because Cincinnati had to use their timeouts on offense, this is their only time to stop the clock. Brandon McManus would be looking at something very much in his range from about 42 yards. And you see he's been perfect 45 and in this year.
Defining moment tonight for Brock Osweiler. Down 14-0, Mike. They come out to start the third quarter. They use a no-huddle offense. He gets that touchdown to get some confidence. And he's been excellent at crunch time. John Elway looking down.
You're right, the specter's huge. It's Elway who handpicked you.
Yeah, your contract's up
at the end of the season. In your quarterback room.
Exactly.
I mean, it's 2 of the all-time greats.
Every Monday night, it's been the same kind of finish, Mike. Right to the wire.
Cincinnati cannot stop it. Will they just keep it centered here? Osweiler going over to that right hash, find a more comfortable spot perhaps for the kicker. It's a loss of 3 yards. It makes it just a hair longer. And Denver will run this down and take the timeout and place it all on the foot of Brandon McManus.
Margus Hunt. Keep an eye on Margus Hunt, number 99 for the Cincinnati Bengals. He has a history of blocking kicks while he was a collegiate at SMU. He might be the only man on this field taller than Brock Osweiler.
Right. He had 17 blocks, number 99 Hunt, for the Bengals during his SMU days. You also had Carlos Dunlap block a field goal last week, John, against San Francisco.
And Michael Johnson looks like he could be playing for the Lakers. These are tall, long defenders that are going to try to block this kick for the Bengals.
McManus has won a couple of games this year with field goals. Aaron Brewer will snap it. Britton Colquitt will hold it. And the right foot of Brandon McManus can send the Denver Broncos to the playoffs. From 45 for the win. Oh, it's not even close. It missed the net. And we will go to overtime. Wow.
Don't even think it was blocked. The hold by Colquitt is there. I think he just shanked it. Hooked it.
Totally. That's a perfect hold.
I bet he's never hit a ball that poorly since he's kicked.
And life for the Bengals. So we'll go to overtime.
Let's just make sure we listen carefully on this coin toss.
That's right. After what happened yesterday with New England and Bill Belichick chose to kick off, the Jets took the ball, the touchdown pass Fitzpatrick to Decker, and the Jets got a huge win for them. A win that really damaged Pittsburgh's chances. So all the fans, Houston and Indianapolis and Kansas City, and Jets fans and Steelers fans who've been going up and down with what this means for their team on every play. Glad you don't have to go to work tomorrow. Ed Hockley will open the microphone, and we'll turn the show over to Ed.
We will now begin an overtime period. Fourth quarter timing rules, all replays will be initiated from the booth. Each team gets 2 timeouts. Each team gets an opportunity to have the football unless the first team with the ball scores a touchdown. Cincinnati, it's your choice. What's your call?
Tails.
Tails. Tails is the call. Tails is the call. It is heads. Denver is one, and you want to kick in this direction. Denver will receive on this end. Good luck, gentlemen.
There are also permutations for the playoffs if there's a tie. We'll talk about those as overtime goes on. Brandon McManus is so desperately hoping he gets another shot or his team wins this game after that kick. Mike Black is our spotter up here in the booth. He kicked at Boise State, was a record-setting kicker for Boise State during his 4 years. He pointed out 2 things. Over stride, his plant foot's a bit ahead of where it wants to be, and then he peaks up as he looks. It's just like your golf swing. When you get nervous, maybe you put a little too much into it, your hips over-rotate, and Mike, who is a terrific kicker in the Arena League with Kurt Warner as his holder, adds that kicking expertise to that play. Overtime begins with no return for Andre Caldwell. You heard Ed Hockley, the overtime rules, just a reminder. Both teams the opportunity to possess unless a touchdown or a safety scored on this possession. If we're tied after each team's first possession, then its next score wins. We'll go 15 minutes. If it's tied, then we end in a tie. And we'll go through what that means for the playoffs in a bit.
Do the Bengals have enough left in the tank on defense? They seem to wear down late in that fourth quarter. Geno Atkins not in the game. It'll be 92. Pat Sims.
From the 20 on first down, it is Osweiler on the boot, taking the shot downfield towards Demaryius Thomas, and incomplete. It's been a very quiet night. Osweiler hit on the end of the play by Dunlap. quiet night for Thomas, 5 catches and 42 yards, and he's limping on the Denver bench.
Osweiler needs to come out of these naked bootlegs with the assumption he could get hit. Dunlap had a sack earlier on a bootleg that time. Knocks Osweiler down.
So this one does not end on a first play overtime victory like we had with Favre and the Packers on a Monday night here in Denver back in 2007. Osweiler, nothing open, flushed, fires, incomplete, intended for Owen Daniels, and it will be 3rd down.
And here he comes. Gilberry. Geno Atkins. This will be the #1 nickel pass rushers of the Bengals. Atkins and Dunlap, the only 2 teammates in football that have over 10 sacks. No time better than to let it loose right now.
Demaryius Thomas back on the field. So too is Virgil Green. It's been a limited night in terms of snaps for Vernon Davis at tight end for Denver. Timeout taken by the Broncos. They take one of their 2 that you get in overtime. All right, so we mentioned if this game goes to a tie, here is the playoff impact of that. The Bengals would clinch the bye that we've talked about so often if they win. The Broncos would also get in the playoffs, so everybody leaves happy.
Okay.
If you have a tie. And the Texans also get in the playoffs, so it would make most of the people who have something on the table here satisfied at the end of the night. And a tie game is not one of the many lengthy scenarios that get the Colts in. So those are the impacts of a tie game on this one.
Nobody's thinking about a tie right now. It's 3rd and 10. And Denver took a timeout because defensive coordinator Paul Gunther jumped into his infamous double A gap package. Let's see if he brings it again to try to confuse Osweiler. 3rd and 10.
They get Demaryius Thomas over to the proper side of the formation for this one. 4-man twisting rush. Osweiler looking for something. Fires complete. Daniels, who's had a great last 2 drives, keeps this one alive with a gain of a dozen.
What a play by Osweiler. 3rd and 10. You got the #1 pass rush in the Cincinnati Bengals on the field. He throws an off-balance, awkward completion for the 1st down right before Geno Atkins can get there.
You talk about conserving energy for players in the snaps. It's been a much more Cincinnati on the field second half defensively compared to that first half. On the zone read give, it is Anderson, and Michael Johnson comes up with a stop.
It's good to see C.J. Anderson back in the game. He got hit hard by Michael Johnson earlier. Cincinnati's right where they want to be. They had a 3rd and 10 just a moment ago. Here they are in 2nd and long. These are the kind of situations that Denver wanted to avoid. And here they are again facing a long yardage 2nd down.
Osweiler, Virgil Green, sideline Green, going to be stopped short of the 1st down as they were pulling at the ball, and a late flag comes in as Burfict didn't let go on the sideline. And Vontaze Burfict got involved with it and was fined and penalized the game in Pittsburgh. Looks like he'll be the one here.
That's not a good play by Burfict. I think 85, Virgil Green, is out of bounds.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 55, 15 yards, 1st down.
And that's a huge penalty. It'll take them into Cincinnati territory. It'll be marked at the Bengals 45.
Burfict got to control his emotions at times. Been fined a lot. When it's close, you got to pull off on the sideline, and it sets Denver up again. Remember McManus. He may have to redeem himself shortly.
Officially marked off to the 44-yard line. Touchdown wins the game. Hillman left trying to get the corner. He does. And Hillman with a really good 1st down run gain. Will take it to the 37-yard line.
Speed to get the edge, and Owen Daniels is shaken up. He came across the formation to cut off the backside, And Daniels, who has come up huge as a receiver in the second half, goes to the sideline. 2nd down and 3. You have to expect Paul Gunther to bring some kind of a blitz.
Hey, check 65! 65! 65!
Saw something he wanted to get to. 3 receivers going downfield. Back shoulder incomplete for Andre Caldwell. And it will be 3rd down and short.
It's a good audible. Osweiler read the blitz. He audibled. He maxed the protection. Blitz came right up the middle. He audibled, and he's going to try to get the ball down the seam. He maxed the protection up. He kept the tight end in the back end. Surprised he picked Caldwell in that situation, but 3rd down and 3. No back set for Denver.
From here, a field goal attempt would be 55 yards. It's Anderson in motion. Osweiler slings it. One-armed grab by Demaryius Thomas as he was dealing with Adam Jones. It's a Bronco 1st down.
You got to be kidding me. Demaryius Thomas has been criticized for dropping footballs. He just made one of the greatest one-handed catches you'll see. How about that? Adam Jones has his other arm, and how Demaryius Thomas caught that bullet, I have no idea. What a huge 1st down for Denver.
He's been fighting through tonight. I've seen him come over to the sideline multiple times. The 32-yard line, 1st down, this opening drive of OT. Osweiler off the hands of Sanders and incomplete. Seemed to stay in the air forever. Burfict trying to get there. Sanders limping.
They're lucky that ball wasn't intercepted. That ball bounced right off his chest. Drake Kirkpatrick is injured for the Bengals. Right off his hands. You see Burfict, Williams pursuing the play, and Drake Kirkpatrick, starting left corner, down for the Bengals.
Yeah, Sanders went over to the Denver sideline as well. So 2 key players shake it up. If you look at this field right now, John, we've got a bunch of Bengals on a knee. Pecco, the big guys, trying to suck air, and then you look over at the Broncos, they're just standing in the huddle. You've talked about it, bringing your teams out here with the Raiders in the division for 4 years. Tampa came out here once. Road teams coming here, doesn't matter how often you oxygen, everything else, it just wears you down as the game goes on.
No doubt about it. I used to think it was a myth until I went outside jogging around a hotel. It's a reality. It's some thin air up here in the Rockies. Kirkpatrick looks to be okay. 2nd down and long. Expect a quick throw or another run. Denver's in field goal position.
Leon Hall hurt earlier in at corner for the moment. 5 defensive backs for the Bengals. Osweiler got it out quick. It's caught by Thomas in traffic. Thomas trying to pick up Buck. Bounces off a tackle. Thomas to the 20-yard line. Gain of 12 and a 1st down. All heart, Demaryius Thomas.
You got a beast like this. Get him the ball and let him do the rest. How many quick screens have they thrown? Great block by C.J. Anderson, and bouncing off tacklers, Demaryius Thomas. What a catch.
Most receiving yards in the league the last 4 years. It was Michael Johnson just getting left forearm on it. I don't know how Thomas saw it come out of there. At the 20-yard line. This drive started at the 20. Anderson tried to cut it back. Gain of a yard as Wallace Gilberry was there. And this drive, in part, helped along by the 15-yard penalty for Vontaze Burfict on the sideline.
What are you thinking if you're Gary Kubiak? How close do we have to get? And do we even want to try another field goal after that last experience?
Well, these overtime rules force you to continue to try to score the touchdown to win the game while you're down here, because the field goal just leaves the door open for Cincinnati to come back down, tie you, and extend this overtime or win the game. So a little of that is mitigated by the rules the last couple of years. 2nd and 9. Osweiler out of the pocket. Caught and knocked out of the hands of Daniels over the middle on the big hit by Reggie Nelson.
Reggie Nelson. at real speed. I thought he went in there legal with the shoulder. Nelson shaking up himself, but he read Osweiler's eyes all the way. Punishes Owen Daniels. That's a legal hit and a great play by Reggie Nelson, who's had 8 interceptions this year. And
they have spoken for the last few years in the NFL about the strike zone, and can they teach the safeties to try to make the big hits and make them legal. And the strike zone is from the shoulders down to the knees, and Nelson was in that strike zone, not with his helmet. He turned his head, so it was his shoulder. It does not minimize the physical toll in the contact, but fortunately you're looking at Daniels below the neck and not up by the head area. So this brings up 3rd and 9 on the 13th play of this overtime starting drive.
Check point, 57, point.
Here comes Cincinnati.
They drop out. Osweiler trying the shot for the end zone. Thomas couldn't bring it in as Adam Jones was with him. No flag thrown, and it will be a 37-yard field goal to put Denver on the board in OT.
Adam Jones one-on-one with Demaryius Thomas. Out of bounds. I don't think it was going to be catchable anyway, Mike. This is a big one for McManus.
We talked about McManus on that replay before and his technique. You mentioned Marcus Hunt, 99. He got up there so big, trying to block this field goal, or the earlier field goal. We'll try this one from 37 yards. And he knocks that one through to give Denver the overtime lead on a 5-minute drive. So Cincinnati, a field goal to continue overtime. A touchdown to win and get a bye. Otherwise, the Broncos are in the playoffs. Well, we've learned one thing. These two young quarterbacks can go on the road in McCarron's case or against a good defense in Osweiler's case and give their team a chance to win a playoff game. This has been playoff caliber, playoff pressure. McCarron was terrific early on. Osweiler with a lot on his back led this team through adversity early on. Nearly 300 yards, and now Cincinnati will have the chance to answer the field goal drive led by Osweiler when McCarron gets on the field. It's a line drive, returnable kick on the bounce. Tate at the 20. Brandon Tate, a good returner, picks through the open spots and gives Cincinnati very good field position to start this overtime drive.
And Todd Davis has checked in at inside linebacker for the Broncos, Mike. For Brandon Marshall, their leading tackler, number 54, is on the sidelines. Let's see if Todd Davis can run the show.
At home, Denver, #1 defense in yards allowed. Can they stop Cincinnati and earn the Broncos a playoff berth? From the 33, McCarron. Pressure coming. That ball's hit on the way out, and it's incomplete. Now ruled incomplete by Ed Hockley, the referee. There was no initial signal. Von Miller came around the edge.
Von Miller beats Andre Smith with that speed rush. His get off.
This is close. This is close. His hand might be on it, projecting it forward there. Almost the empty hand coming through, which would have been a fumble with a clear recovery. Aqib Talib came out after that play.
#1 defense in pro football. All you got to do is put an exclamation point behind it right now if you're Denver.
Stopping the game. Stopping the game here. This play is not going to count. I wonder if this is being stopped. Or a timeout by Denver. Talib came over to the sideline. Timeout's being taken
before
here
the ball was
by
snapped.
Denver.
Timeout Denver. That's their first. That's a 30-second timeout.
It's actually going to be their last timeout. You only get 2 in OT. They used 1 earlier. Kubiak is trying to get the attention. He's got the red flag in his hand, but you can't throw the challenge flag in overtime because all replays are initiated by the replay booth. And he saw what we saw as John was talking about that replay. He thought the ball came out, and he wants it reviewed. But you can't force it to be reviewed. You can just call timeout and say, hey, you want to take a few more looks at it and maybe initiate it from upstairs? I'll open up Jerry Austin here, our two-time Super Bowl referee. Jerry, my first thought was
Denver's second and final timeout in overtime.
My first thought was that was really close to a fumble.
After we got this look at it, the ball is loose before the arm goes forward, before the elbow hinges, the ball is loose. I think this is a fumble, but replay did not shut it down.
How can they not review this, Jerry, with all this time?
It would have to be clear because the call on the field was incomplete. And Kubiak did a brilliant job of calling timeout, giving the big board here
on the field.
On the big replay board, the chance to look at those. If there is a clear recovery by Denver and that's a fumble, the game would be over. Because it would be the turnover and end the possession. So let's go back over the wording, Jerry, of what you're going to be looking at in replay here to overturn the call of incomplete pass as we look all the way through to see a clear recovery by Derek Wolfe of the Broncos.
It has to be clearly that the arm or hand is not going forward, but see, he is hit. And before the hand goes forward, before the elbow hinges, the ball is loose. He pushes it forward. Therefore, that should be ruled a fumble. In my opinion, that's clearly a fumble. And it's going to be a recover for Denver.
There's a clear recovery. You see his fingers come off the ball there, which is a little bit of that empty hand that you look for on plays like that. Pushing the ball forward and controlling it, just going forward even a little bit, is the difference between a fumble and a forward pass. So this is being looked at. Again, it has to be completely convincing evidence to overturn that call. That hand was just coming forward a bit, and we'll see if they say stands on that instead of overturning it and ending the game.
The ruling on the field stands as called.
And now Ed Hockley will come over with that explanation for Gary Kubiak. Again, watch the hand, the ball on the hand as it comes forward. It just rolls off almost like a George Gervin finger roll off his hands as that hand is starting to move forward. Whiskers in super slow-mo and high definition.
Better get back to the quick passing game because Von Miller has a beat on McCarron in his snap count. Got to be real careful here.
Cincinnati, yes you do. Cincinnati gets another life after that. It is 2nd and 10. A.J. Green in motion. McCarron lost the ball. If the Broncos recover, they win. Ware's on it, and the Broncos are in the playoffs.
What a way to lose a football game. Center quarterback exchange. And Brock Osweiler, the Denver Broncos, come back from a 14-0 deficit to shock Cincinnati. Just mishandled it, Mike. Yep. Sometimes you take your eyes off the snap. You're looking at the defense, reading the coverage.
And the Pro Bowler Ware gets the recovery. Brock Osweiler rallies the team after down 14-0. And those two guys may see each other in a few weeks in a season-ending game one way or the other. They may meet in a playoff game. With the Broncos win, Denver is in the tournament. Next week, they win the West with a win or a Kansas City loss. Chiefs fans got to be crushed right now. The Broncos clinch a first-round bye if they win or Kansas City and Cincinnati lose. The Broncos can still be the #1 seed if they win and then New England loses at Miami. Now, on the Bengals side, with this result, they can still clinch a bye if they win against Baltimore at home next week and Denver loses to San Diego, or the Chiefs get the victory in their game against Oakland and Denver loses the game to San Diego. But Gary Kubiak's in the playoffs, Brock Osweiler's in the playoffs, and he's with Lisa Salters.
Thank you, Mike. Brock, it took a little bit longer. We had to go to overtime, but what did you think about the way that one ended?
Sometimes that's just how the game goes, but
You know, our team has a lot of special guys on it, and those guys, you know, are willing to fight for sometimes 60-plus minutes. You know, we've had to do that a couple times this year, and it's just a heck of a team effort. Great win in front of the best fans in the world. You know, they supported us all night, and I'm very, very happy to get this win.
You guys couldn't get anything going offensively in the first half. What changed once you came out of the locker room?
Well, we flip-flopped things. You know, last week we started fast, finished slow, and we just thought we would do the opposite game this week, but nothing special. You know, we really honed in one play at a time. We focused on our job one play at a time, and we were able to march down the field.
What does it mean to you to get this team into the playoffs?
It means everything. You know, that's why you lace them up. That's why you know, you show up in April and you go back to work. That's why you do training camp. You show up so you can make the playoffs, and for us to get a berth again, it means a lot to this football team.
Thank you, Brock, and congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Mike, back to you.
Chargers on Sunday here. A heck of a football game between two terrific teams. So Houston does not clinch the South, by the way, and Indianapolis is still alive. They'll have 9 more of their 10-team parlay to pull off to get into the postseason. Season 46 of Monday Night Football was the best in terms of competitive games. 13 of our 17 games decided by 8 or fewer points. No season like it. In overtime, Denver wins 20-17. GMC postgame on SportsCenter is coming up. Final Gruden Grinder of the year in a moment.
ESPN thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League.